What? Huh? Hold on. Sorry, I couldn't hear you over all the compliments I've been getting about my movement watch. You've heard us talking about movement watches for years, literally, because they're great, they're affordable, and they're stylish, and they make even Kevin look good. But you know what else they do? They make holiday shopping easy. These watches make the perfect purchase for you or anyone else in your life, your girl, your guy, it doesn't matter. And remember, they start at only 95 bucks. Get yourself a movement watch, and then you can monitor all the time you're saving by not going to the mall and getting some lame gift for your dad. Movement watches start at just $95. At a department store, you're looking at 400 to 500 bucks. Movement figured out that by selling online, they were able to cut out the middleman and the retail markup, providing the best possible price. Get 15% off today. It was funny, right? When I did the yell thing. Get 15% off today with free shipping and free returns by going to movement.com/Greggy. Buy them now and skip the holiday hassle. That's MVM. I just yelled. There's no one complimenting me in the room. You know, go to mvmt.com/Greggy. Join the movement. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the GameOverGreggy show. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the producer/seducer. Don't bring up his butt, Nick Scarpino.
Hi, Greg.
Hey, how
Don't
are you?
bring up his butt.
Yeah, you like that? Yeah.
You were gone for a while, and I didn't like it.
No, I'm back now, though. But
you did great work, though. I don't know if we did a podcast, so I forgot to say congratulations. The WWE thing was fucking awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, it was awesome.
Awesome. Great work.
Thank you so much. High five on that one.
Man.
Huh? There it is. All right, that's what I like to see. Over there, the pure one at Tim Gettys.
Let Timos. I like how you almost blend into the poster behind you.
Because I'm wearing the shirt back there.
You sang the X-Men theme as you meant Nightcrawler, right?
No, well, I mean, Nightcrawler doesn't make any sense either. I was thinking more of a morph.
Well, he went like this.
A chameleon, where if I could go up and it was one of those, if I could make all my skin transparent, you know what I mean?
There has to have been an X-person
I'd match up perfectly. There's
I
gotta
imagine that by the time this episode goes live, that shirt will be available.
Yeah, why not? Let's just say. What could possibly go wrong?
And maybe this will be there.
I'm wearing a Kind of Funny Games daily shirt if you're watching it or listening at home and you don't know what's happening.
The day was like October 27th,
From the date that we're recording, it should go live a week from Friday. So it should.
We're so prepared for holiday break with all the gogs.
Yeah.
And making his debut. Have you ever been on the GameOverGreggy show?
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, world famous bartender, host of Follow the Leader, producer, maker, director, star of the one hit documentary Bartender at Large, Erick Castro.
Yay!
Yay!
I could have sworn you've been on this show before.
I thought, no,
you
was
have
supposed
to have
be
been on
on,
the
but
show.
it was like the dates. I was supposed to be on, but the dates didn't work out a couple times, and it's like I think it like fell through like a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're one of, like, Nick always brings up his friend Stu, and drops this in there all the time to where Stu is a character without actually having much of a presence on the shows, you know what I mean? You're the same way.
Oh,
where I drop in all the time, I'm hanging out with world famous bartender Erick Castro, and people Follow the Leader.
A lot too,
Yeah, we're friends. That's part.
He also did Follow the Leader, which was our first ever show. That was like when we were like, we're gonna do something new.
Yeah, we're gonna do something new and polished. We're gonna do this. It's gonna be different and shake it up.
It looks real good.
It did. Yeah,
Still does look good.
Yeah,
Seminal
YouTube
work show.
I went back and I was watching the other day. So a lot of those have a lot of good views.
The production value on them is really good
come
too.
on, that was off the charts. Yeah, that was great. That was amazing. Irish Polar Bear's coming up. You want to get that soon?
For the holidays,
yeah, you know what's up.
Man,
we have so much to talk to you about the holidays.
Yeah.
About polite revisions, about being a bartender, about the movie, all these different things. But first, you brought a drink for us.
Yes.
What are you making today?
I'm parched. I'm thirsty.
Yeah.
So since I saw you guys had Negronis a couple weeks back.
The blackout drink with Max Landis. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I don't remember it.
We made them very strong. We made gin ones off your recipe.
Yeah.
And Max, it was his favorite drink, and I gave it to him, and he's like, "This is very strong." And then he kept drinking them as we transitioned over to old fashions. I'd like to. So what are you making?
So we're gonna have like a riff on that.
Okay.
Called the Boulevardier, but it's kind of like a bourbon Negroni.
Okay.
So we're gonna make those a little Woodford Reserve, some Campari, and a sweet vermouth.
All right. What do you need from us? I brought all these are the accoutrements from home.
Yeah, you could do it equal parts if you want.
You do whatever.
I'm gonna it's been one of those weeks,
Yeah. Oh,
so I'm gonna kick up the bourbon a little bit.
Yeah. Okay.
Kick it up, man.
As Emerald would say, bam. You know what I mean?
Bam.
Yeah. So we got the nice glasses over here for on camera, and then these are for these schlubs over here. your
Can I
Joey
tell you, now,
Noels,
here's the
your
thing. I always
Andys,
feel
your Cool
bad
Gregs.
because I know that when he makes this cocktail, it's going to be the best in the world.
Yeah.
I don't drink that much anymore.
Yeah.
Can I take a little
You
baby
have sip
sip
mine.
of
Little
yours?
sip,
Is that
sip.
okay?
I'll make you a wee dram.
a wee dram.
I don't know what that means. I'm scared of it.
I think it's
take
going to
a
be a little small drink for you.
Okay, yeah, that'd be nice.
A little drink for little Nick.
Yeah.
I didn't mean that
Well,
mean.
you said little Nick, right?
Yeah,
I did.
a little drink for little Nick.
Although
is what
I
he
said that I don't drink that much anymore, but I have actually, in fact, been drinking a lot.
You've been
You and I
drinking a
got
lot.
a little bit bombed on
Yeah.
Sunday.
No, dude, I've been on a bad tear. I need to stop.
No, you don't.
I'm gonna give up drinking
You're
after.
fine.
That's crazy. After this.
Yeah.
Okay. Until we have
Sober
the
Jumper
next
Fest.
guest.
After
It's
this.
it's always
It's
after
always
this.
after this.
Well, yeah, I feel like I've been on a tear recently as well, but it's just because.
it's been a bad week in terms of drinking. For me.
Yeah.
It just
Lay it
keeps
on me. What?
happening.
Okay.
It's been having a
just
blast.
when
We had a
I-
blast.
Yeah,
Let's hear
when I
about
was with Nick, it was like too much of a blast.
So good.
Like I still
Did
feel
you-
hungover from it.
You heard the
It was
story on Sunday, right? Were you-
Yeah,
You were here.
Well, I wasn't here, but I heard the story.
You got the story, yeah. So Tim met me over, for anyone that doesn't remember this. Tim met me over at one of my open mics. He and Gia surprised me. And I was like, oh, this is super fun. And then we got to talking. And of course, I've made a few friends now in the open mic world. And so they like to drink. And, I like to be hospitable.
Yeah.
And have a
Oh,
couple
you're just doing
cocktails
it for
here and
them.
there. Man, it was fun. We had a good
Nick
night.
got so drunk he forgot his card there.
Sure did. I pulled it.
Wait,
I'm
you were
22.
drunk on Sunday too?
I got a little drunk on
I
Sunday,
thought
yeah.
just you were drunk.
I got a little
You
drunk.
made it sound like Gia was there, like, oh, I got this
definitely
drunk
hungover
Tim.
on
I got to
Monday.
worry
no,
about
she
him.
was drunk. Everyone was drunk.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my lord.
I was at Milk Bar till
Disaster.
2 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday. It was
Yeah.
me,
That's San
3 other
Francisco.
people, one dude doing stand up, and then there was like a pug somewhere. I'm pretty sure. Did you see the pug?
There was, yeah. The pug just was chilling.
There's just a pug. They put a
Yeah.
pug on a
Oh.
stool, and you're like, cool. And then the
I
next
was
day, the pug was
so-
there again. I went to get my car,
yeah.
and the pug was there, and he like remembered me. He's like, hey.
like,
And I was like,
hey,
hey,
what's up, dude?
We
You
got
were
a
here last
little
night.
scratch on his belly.
Yeah.
Pugs have very soft bellies. I just wanted everyone to know that.
Sure.
I was so drunk, and I was one of the only 3 people sitting in the audience
You
for the
were. You got
stand-up.
picked on.
And these guys just
sorry.
every single comedian that went up was just making fun of me so much, and I couldn't.
'Cause you were
even-
so drunk?
Just because I was sitting there, and I was so obviously just like, I was very drunk, and this one dude was making some joke about black people. He was black as well. And he pointed at someone next to me and like made a reference to them, pointed at someone else.
You're not black.
And then he pointed at me and he just goes, "We all know it's not you. You're white as fuck." And he's
You
sitting
are white
there,
as fuck.
and I was like, "Fuck!" I didn't even hear what he just said. But I'm
Right.
just gonna go, "Yeah."
Like
I
you
mean-
mentioned earlier about never being in the front row at a yoga studio.
Don't.
Dude,
Yeah.
never
Never
sit in the front
Dude,
of a
I was
comedy
in
club.
the back. It's just, I was the only one.
So here's one of the here's
It
an
was
important
2 a.m. at a freaking shitty open mic.
Oh yeah, no.
Like,
Tim was
things were
literally
dire,
in the
man.
second to last row of chairs that were set up, but there was no one there, so he was de facto front row.
Oh shit.
Yeah, we got by the way. So when we were in there, I learned a very important safety tip. Now I've been hanging out at the Punchline a lot, and I got my boy Alan there.
Alan, what up?
Shout out to Alan at the Punchline.
David Alan Grier,
He's a
right?
comedian as well. Definitely not David Alan Grier. Could not be farther from that man.
Okay.
David Alan Grier. No, I'm just joking. They're both
down
nice.
with
I don't know.
David
I
Alan
don't know where I was
Grier.
going with that.
I saw him at Union
David Alan
Square
Grier,
one
cool
time.
guy.
What are
I don't
you
know.
talk shit about David
No,
Alan Grier?
but what I noticed is that they purposely stack the front row when people are being sat with interesting looking humans. Sometimes good looking, sometimes older. Like they'll make it diverse enough so the comics can, if they want to go to the crowd, go to the audience, so to speak, they'll have something to fuck with. So never sit. There are 3 places that you should never be in the front row: yoga, comedy clubs, and strip clubs. Just stay away from that. Oh, thank you, sir. Stay away
Strip
from the
clubs
front.
not being in the front row?
Don't do that. It's just, you're just a waste.
What's
of
the point
money.
of going to a strip club then?
It's a waste of money. To hang out with your friends and smoke cigars and go, ha ha ha.
Hey,
my God.
We did do that at
very
Kevin's
much.
bachelor party.
We did.
Thank you.
fellas?
Thank you. Cheers.
Boulevardier.
Cheers.
Cheers, fellas.
It's good to see you, buddy. Missed you.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Cheersies.
Speaking of strip clubs in the front row.
So much better than mine,
Yeah,
which
my God.
was like paint
I
thinner.
didn't even have yours, but I can tell this is better. That's lovely.
There's a strip club in Portland.
Is
Called,
it a vegan strip club?
It's called Acropolis. Yeah, no. It's the only
I've been-
farm-to-table strip club in America.
Really?
What the fuck?
Sorry.
So that's the most Portland thing you've ever heard. So you go to the strip club, and the owner of the strip club also owns like a cattle ranch.
Okay.
So you can get all this like top prime grade beef.
That's great,
And
actually.
it's at a strip club, so it's like super cheap. You can get like a really dope steak for like $18 or something.
I went to a bachelor party in Portland, and we went to there's apparently a vegan strip club. Where
Oh yeah, it's
I forget what it's called, but it looks.
Mary's.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
It looks
I mean,
like it's.
I've heard.
Yeah.
I've heard it's.
I read it on Eater.
I went, and it was like basically, it looks like an old motel that had been renovated and like turned into. It was a very weird setting, but. What strip club isn't a weird setting?
Yeah.
It's not like any strip club you go to is like this is like
this
the
is
natural,
cultural.
like this is nature right now. It's all this made up weird fucking surrealistic world that you enter into. But the fact that it was vegan, I felt like everyone was like, we gotta see what this is like.
Yeah.
It just turns out they don't serve anything that's not vegan. I don't think there's nothing special to it.
I mean, that's
There's
what I
a
would
lot of
guess.
jokes.
That's what I would
I
guess.
didn't know. I didn't know. I thought maybe all the girls would be like, you walk in with a hamburger, they smack you in the face.
There is something
Shit like
super
that.
weird though about eating at a strip club.
Oh yeah,
I don't need to
do
do
that.
that.
Sold on the
Why is that
cleanliness.
such a thing, though? I think, honestly,
bang for your buck.
my theory is that people need a layer of excuse to give themselves to
Yeah.
make it okay.
I'm just going for dinner.
Oh, yeah,
went
like,
with
oh
awesome
no, their
steaks.
chicken wings are great. And
people go for lunch.
because we were even talking about Hooters yesterday,
yeah.
where it's like people that are like, oh no, but the fried pickles are amazing, or the wings are great. It's like, just stop lying to yourself. Like you want to go there to see
Some
women
boobs.
in scantily
Yeah.
clad outfits.
Yeah,
Like
wanna see boobs.
that's
Like
totally
if somebody
okay.
ordered like Hooters to go, it would be the dumbest thing ever.
What the
fuck's wrong with you?
Uber Eats, Hooters.
Even like the dude you put the order in with, you're like, why? Are
You'd be
you
like,
I
doing
mean,
that?
I'm not lying though. I would do that because I love the fucking fried pickle chips there.
Their wings
Although
are
shout
pretty
out to the
legit.
fried pickle chips at Buffalo Wild Wings. I remember them being a lot worse than they were yesterday. They were pretty fucking good.
Did you live
Pretty
the
good.
dream yesterday and do it, where you went to Wild Wings for lunch and Hooters for dinner?
So I did, but it hit a point where like I just smelled the wings and I was like, I just didn't eat dinner last night.
Oh,
I
yeah.
couldn't. It like something in me was just like,
Sure.
this is too much fucking wings, dude. Yeah, Hooters though, what an experience.
That's one day, brother, when you pass on your gravestone, it's just gonna say, "Too much fucking wings, dude."
Here, Les Greg Miller
Totally worth
made of
it.
chicken wings.
If you didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, this is the Game Over Greggy show each and every week. 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table, each bring a random topic discussion for your amusement. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindafunny, where you can toss us a couple of bucks and get each and every episode early. How early, Tim?
You can watch that shit right now.
Fuck
Thank
you,
you,
Tim! yeah.
I'm deer in the headlights that
It's
one.
okay. He
Give us a dollar.
Before I figured out.
Give
what
us
he
a
needed to
dollar.
say.
You can watch it as we record it live, like so many people are on patreon.com/kindafunny right now. Thank you.
By the way, shout out to the live experience.
Sure.
Because we spend a lot of time before, a lot of time after. We look at the comments. It's a fun thing. You should think about doing it if you haven't. It's definitely worthwhile.
Yeah.
Sometimes Tim takes his pants off.
It's never happened. Usually Tim gets up and takes a business call because we're 20 minutes late.
that is the thing that happened. I apologize for
If you
that.
got no bucks to toss our way, no big deal. Head over to youtube.com/kindafunny, where we post the show topic by topic, day by day, until it goes up as one big video and MP3. Tim, what are you doing with your socks?
I got flamingo socks.
Oh, I like those.
Let's see. Hold. Oh yeah,
Pretty
nice.
fucking cool.
I switched over to the speckled
Here we
sock.
go.
Just want you to know that.
Ooh. Oh,
There's
wow.
my sock right there.
That is a ballsy move.
I know. I don't do any of the graphic socks anymore. I've just gone completely
Wow, how come?
speckled. I just like the speckle socks.
So
I wear crew cut Hanes. No, I actually wear Pumas, but I have a thing of Hanes because I went on a trip and realized I packed no socks. I had
so
to
you
go
gotta
buy
pick 'em
some
up?
socks. Yeah.
That's the worst.
my problem with the kooky designed ones is that the stitching gets all fucked up.
Yeah.
And then the inside, there's a lot of just loose strings and shit, and getting your foot in eventually becomes an issue if you wash them a lot.
Don't like it.
which
These
you
don't
should
have that
with
problem.
socks.
These are $2 a pair, man. Bought them at Uniqlo. They sell
See,
like
I'm an
50
H&M
different
guy
versions.
when it comes to the socks. These are from
Probably the
Express.
same
though.
Tim, what's your fucking topic? It's not socks.
My topic is socks. No, my topic. I want to talk about. I want to talk about bartending. You are a world famous bartender, which is kind of a weird thing to imagine being the young lad that I used to be when I first heard about you. I was like, what the fuck does that even mean? Now, all these years later, having been to Polite Provisions, having seen what you have done right in front of me and also on Follow the Leader and a bunch of other stuff, it's like, oh, wow, there's this whole culture here that you
And it's only getting
really
bigger.
welcomed me into.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
Well, it's crazy because when I first started bartending about 15 years ago, there really weren't that many opportunities for a bartender. You kind of, you either went to own your own place or you like work for, one of the distributors like Southern or Young's or something. And now it's like we're at the point where it's like I know bartenders who like own their own spirits companies. They're putting on their own products. They're traveling around the world. They're on TV. They're paid consultants, and it's crazy. It's like when I first got into this, there weren't all these opportunities yet. So I was kind of with it as it was evolving. It was kind of like the old Wild West for a while. And now it's like things are falling into place and there's all these crazy opportunities. Like
How did you get involved then? Like, what were you like? It starts 15 years ago. What exactly happened? You were an accountant. You were a
No,
priest.
I was going to San Diego
law.
State, and I was kind of just like, oh, I'm just, I'm a bartender my way through college. Meet some ladies, drink some free tequila. Like, I can't lose, right? It's
the dream.
Better
the dream.
hours because you get to sleep in.
San Diego
And-
State, man.
Right?
Oh, all right.
San Diego
And it's just one of those
State.
things. Is like I kept thinking like, oh, well, once I graduate, I'm gonna get a real job. And I studied journalism and poli-sci and stuff, and just next thing you know, it's just like more and more opportunities have started coming out, and like.
Did you love it back then, or were you like, this
I
is
loved
just
it,
a job?
man.
Okay.
I like took to it like a fish to water,
you?
man. I loved it.
I mean, because I worked in the service industry for a very long time, and I never expressly liked the hours. I didn't like the actual like. There's a certain kind of party lifestyle that goes along with it that I didn't really gel with, but I think that there are some people that really did, and there's a lot of people that find their passion in that, like sort of like I love sleeping in till 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and then my day doesn't really start till like 5 when I get to work, and then
be
you
a
party
bartender.
all day.
Dude.
Oh, you would have loved it.
When I was bartending in New York, bars close at 4, so when you're there super late, like I was setting my alarm clock, like, gotta be up by 1 p.m. tomorrow at the latest.
It's just
That is fantastic.
But I mean, it's
awesome.
crazy to me, and obviously, like we're in San Francisco, where the craft cocktail and the restaurant industry is flourishing right now.
Yeah.
So I have friends that own bars, and it's crazy to me too, because I think my perspective on the issue has shifted as I started my own business, and as we all put in like crazy hours to this because we fucking love it,
Yeah.
and it just becomes your life after a while, and your identity is tied up into that. I'm looking at my friends who own bars, or and are bartending at the bars that they're like co-owners of in a totally different light.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Than I used to.
It's just evolved so much.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. When it starts for you, do you start immediately into craft cocktails and this, or is it just
No,
rum
I
and
used to
Coke
work
and here's
at,
a beer and?
Yeah, I used to work at chain restaurants.
Oh, okay.
Did you ever work at a
I used to
TGI
work at
Fridays?
BJ's, brother.
You worked at BJ's?
I was at BJ's,
Yeah,
yeah.
boy.
Give me that Jeremiah Red. Give me a pint of Jeremiah
Man, I
Red.
drank so much Jeremiah Red in my time. And so I was into that, and then it's like I moved up to Northern California, and then I was in Sacramento, so close to San Francisco that I was actually starting to hear about craft cocktails, and at that time I was like, wait, you can make like a lemon drop with real lemons? No way. And then I tried it and was like, oh, cool. So then I started reading old like classic cocktail books and kind of just fell into it. And at that point, like people used to make fun of us for it. People were like,
How many years
the
back is
servers
this?
And this is probably about 15,
Okay.
12 years ago.
Okay,
Maybe I've
okay.
been working a little bit longer than that. But I said, people make fun of you, restaurant managers be like, oh, what, people are supposed to squeeze lemons? Like, you think people are really going to pay for that? Get out of here. And then now here it is, flash forward, and it's like, not doing too shabby.
Do you think that there's been sort of, I don't want to say a renaissance, but like a lot more care paid toward the quality of things now, and that's why? Like, do you in other words, are people in your experience going like, I really do actually care what goes into the things that I'm consuming or that I'm buying or that I'm purchasing, and I want those to be quality ingredients?
Yeah, and I think it goes across the board, man. I don't think it's just like with cocktails. I think it's like, historically, like think about beer, right? In the course of American history, we've always drank local beer. Mm-hmm. And then, we've always, had craft cocktails. It's really, I think, only been these last like 30 years that we kind of started shifting towards like kind of garbage stuff to drink. Mm-hmm. And now I think it's just America just returning back to the way it's always been.
Interesting, because I see that a lot. Obviously, we're in a small bubble in San Francisco where like everything is very progressive and everyone's always trying something new. And I think what I've seen a lot lately is obviously the farm to table is a huge thing up here. Yeah. You're getting people who are really looking for clean ingredients and actually giving a shit. Like there's sort of a passion and an art form in looking at like craft cocktails, for instance, or from my perspective, food, and being like, how can we make something that's delicious but also not full of preservatives, not processed, not any of these things? And I think there's a real movement toward that I find fascinating.
Yeah, and I think it's just like this whole last generation, like millennials and the tail end of like the last generation, like their way to rebel against their parents was to make quality products.
I mean, that's
about that, right?
Every generation is just kind of a reaction to the one that came prior, right? And like the millennials, I think I don't know, you're a millennial, right? But we're not we're on the cusp, right?
Yeah,
I forget what it is.
It's weird. Every time I make fun of a millennial, they say I'm a millennial, so I think it's a giant swath. Maybe
I think you might be.
Yeah.
You might be. I think I'm on the cusp. I think
There's an M.
Yeah, the chip.
He's got a chip. It makes him constantly take pictures of himself on Instagram.
Just going from you being in a chain restaurant and like trying to put actual lemons and shit in there.
Yeah.
Like that's funny because that's not how things are nowadays.
No.
You go to
Yeah, they are.
BJ's.
Chain restaurants
Yeah.
still suck at
I mean, actually, like
That's
I have
what I'm saying.
Oh, my apologies.
Yeah,
My
sorry, but
apologies.
they're not
Yeah.
doing what he was trying to do.
Well, were you
There are a lot
doing
of
that at
people making
BJ's?
That move.
Okay.
Like me and a friend of mine, we own a consulting company, And a lot of the work we've been doing this last year is all for the national chain restaurants.
Yeah, just
They're
trying
like
to-
we're getting left behind, like we're losing millennials.
Well, sure.
Like,
I mean, that
out.
makes sense, right? Because I feel like once you know, I always feel like it's this weird, you coming into our lives, right, is this weird crossover of a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
But I remember you being a fan, like you liked me and Colin and Beyond and all that stuff.
Dude,
at
I came
IGN.
to some of the recordings up at noon, man.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way,
yeah.
I think you guys still owe me a Spider-Man game.
Yeah, fuck you. But I remember you talking about exactly when we had Tim in the Spider-Man costume. and stuff.
yeah.
I don't care.
But that's more on Activision than us, and they're not going to give you
Come on,
shit.
Activision.
But it was that
do the right thing.
you popped up and you were talking about it, and you started talking to us all on Twitter and hanging out with us. And I remember you sent the whiskey care package that had like the shaker and all the stuff and all these different whiskeys to me when I was sick with cancer.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, I couldn't drink, so I put it all there on the table, and then it was literally months later where I had started watching Mad Men, and it was that thing of like, damn, them drinking all this bourbon shit looks
so
good.
elegant, right?
It looks cool. Like, I'd like that. And I remember hitting you up and like, hey, what's the recipe for an old fashioned? And you sent it all to me, and I was like, where can I get that stuff? And then as I was typing that, I turned around and it was all on that table. And I remember taking it home and starting to do all those things. And it was like, it was your influence. It was you coming on the scene. It was also Mad Men becoming such a big part of it, right? Like,
I honestly think that that Mad Men came out at just as like
Oh,
the
yeah.
cocktail movement was gaining steam.
That has to have
So
added
it's
to
just it was just
Has
like
to have.
I mean, you're already taking like this fast horse and they put steroids in it. It's just like it helped the movement grow.
Well,
Yeah.
what I
much
loved about
faster.
that was that, like, obviously the idea of the cocktail, right, is it spreads so many different generations, right?
Yeah.
There's a history behind it, and it ties us to like all those people from all those bygone eras.
Yeah.
And you see them drinking in Mad Men. And I said this a lot with the cigarettes too, where I'm like, I quit smoking cigarettes a long time ago, but you see them smoking, you're like, man, it
looks
just
cool.
fucking looks cool. Like the idea of like, hey, it's 4:00 in the afternoon. We're still at the office. Come over to my desk. Let's have a cocktail. I'm like, that is fucking cool, man.
So, but over the time though, there are the classic cocktails. Has the world lost any? Like, are there some cocktails that are just people don't fuck
There's
with
a few.
anymore?
You go through these old cocktail books from like, I mean, sometimes I feel like when I'm going through all these old cocktail books, I'm in a way you're kind of like an Indiana Jones of alcohol, right?
Yeah.
Because you're going through all these old books and you're finding like really cool recipes and you're kind of updating it for the modern palate. And some of these you see in there, you're like, okay, this drink was forgotten for a reason.
Yeah.
Gross.
Tastes like fucking motor oil.
I tried 1,000 ways of making it. There's no way of saving this.
What are the classic drinks though that if you consider yourself a bartender, you have to know? Is that list too long or?
No, I mean, there's, I'd say, a solid like 15 you got to know. But I mean, you got to know like a Collins Manhattan Old Fashioned, Negroni, Margarita, Sidecar, and then a few more too.
Sex
Where
on
it's
the
like-
beach.
What's your approach to the martini? Does that count
Man,
as?
okay.
Does
Look
that
how
count-
excited he gets. I love Erick Castro.
Is the
You got the
martini? Is
Indiana
the
Jones
martini
alcohol
in that
here.
top 15? Do you have to know how
Yeah,
to
you
make a
gotta
good
know
martini?
martini. And the martini is like, I love the martini, but like it's so tough because so many bad martinis are made every day. So essentially, it's
That's
like,
what we're here to stop.
Yeah.
You can save the martinis. This martini was outside in the snow.
For $12
cold.
a drink, you can make it a martini that isn't garbage.
$12. Where the fuck are you going to?
Man,
it's like $20 now.
You know,
Sorry,
yeah, that's
continue.
one thing I kind of like when you see some of these bars are like they're kicking up the price of cocktails so high, like, oh, we make the best cocktails in like $20. You're like, for fucking $20, it better be the damn best cocktail I've ever
Don't they
had.
have to do that though? Because that's something I think
Yeah.
about. Where as the quality of the drinks rises, the time it takes to make the drinks rises. You can
Yeah.
only have physically so many bartenders behind the bar.
Yeah.
And it reaches a point where it's annoying as fuck to have to wait in line to get your next drink.
That is my one critique with
Where-
the craft cocktails.
Is the price the thing that's supposed to like weed people out at that point?
I think so. I think there is something to that. You get a certain point where it's like you start to get people who are like starting fights and stuff, and you're like, that's when it's time to bump the cocktails up a buck or two.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I mean, for me, it's not a knock against any of the places because to each his own. I'm not a craft cocktail guy. I'm not a huge drinker either. But when I do go to some of these fine establishments, and I won't call anyone out in the city, but you guys know what I'm talking about. And there is a line, and there's a guy that's like lighting something on fire, like one of the
going
bartenders
so
is like
slow.
lighting something on fire, and like the zest and like the smoke in the air, and it was. Like people applaud, right? I'm just like, oh, I just want a bourbon on the rocks. Like that's
But I
all
feel like
really want.
that's
Maybe there should be
always
two different lines.
That's the division, right? Where I feel like there's so many bars you can go to and get a beer, get a shot, get whatever, get bourbon neat, and you're fine. But when we go to these craft cocktail places, you're in it, and part of it is the show, right? Like bourbon
experience, yeah.
Bourbon and Branch is the what's the password? Come on in, go through this like bookcase, and you're like, this is fucking rad. And even Rick House, like. You walk in there and it is like the vests and the ties and it's this throwback. Hard Water's on the water, you know what I mean? Like if you get
Hard
that
Water's
bar,
bourbon selection is I think maybe the
a
best
wall.
I've seen on the West Coast.
Isn't that the whole
Yeah.
wall?
Yeah.
Yeah, because you see these places that are like, oh, we have more bourbons than anyone. You go and they're like, yeah, but most of them suck.
Yeah.
Right. But then you go to a place like Hard Water and it's like every single bottle. I'm like, fuck, where the hell did they find that?
Yeah.
Damn, that's like Eagle Rare from like, a bottle from like 1982. Where are these guys finding
And they're
this
doing
stuff?
like the Pappy flights, and they're doing all
Yeah.
this stuff that's like a real deal thing. And I that's the just that juxtaposition of I've been exactly where you are, and I mean like I think of Rick House or something,
Yeah.
where somebody's going away party and we're there and we're trying to get drunk,
trying
and
to
it's
get
like,
trashed.
but you go up there and it is, and it's like, well, this is kind of the thing. This isn't the right fit for what we're trying to do to it. I feel personally.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and that's 100% right. Like I am typical Nick Scarpino, bringing my expectations of what I want everything to be into this new environment, and going like, "God damn you for not bending to my will,
Yeah.
sir."
It's like when we go to
but I do
Polite,
think-
we bring
I do think
70 people to
I
Polite
know.
Provisions, and your guys keep up and do great, and it's like, all right.
Well, I mean that's a perfect example, right? We've done meet and greets there, and there's not like you guys are fast. Like
Yeah.
you stock them with the correct amount of people. And I've never, it's not like other establishments. And again, I'm not going to call anyone
No,
out.
yeah, it
but
is.
wouldn't it be
Yeah.
way cooler if you got the craft cocktail? You still got that touch, but you got it when you wanted it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You didn't have to wait 30 minutes
Well, that's
to get
always-
a cocktail.
Well,
Polite's thing where they have the little bottles ready to go, which I
I would even
love.
say like, oh yeah, I dig that. I would even say like part of what Rick House, because me, a buddy of mine, we did the bar program there when it opened. Part of that was me taking that part of the success of that bar was me taking all the like the efficiency and like levels of systems that I learned from working at chain restaurants. And then incorporating that with all the craft cocktails and stuff that I had fallen in love with.
That's an important thing.
So I took those two. I
Yeah.
took systems and quality, and I combined them, or we combined them there. And I feel like that's why the bar did so well, and won all kinds of
I
awards.
guarantee it is.
Yeah.
I mean, that's another critique I have of restaurants in general in San Francisco is that when I used to be in the service industry, we had steps of service. We had, there was just
Where'd you wait tables at?
I waited tables at 3 different restaurants. I don't know if any of them are there anymore. I rated 4 actually. There was a place called Bertolini's, which there's a Bertolini's in Vegas.
See, that's how
still,
you can tell we're
think.
starting to get old because he's like, oh, they all went out of business.
Oh no! Well, I mean, this literally one of them went out of business as I was working there. They called us all and they were like, "Hey, everyone, it's been a great ride. You're all laid off." I was like, "Whoa!" That was my first time ever getting laid off. First and last time, actually. The rest of the time, I got fired.
Don't count yourself out just yet.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. No, I waited at a place called Bertolini's. I waited at a place called Koji's, which was a shabu shabu restaurant, and then there was another one that was called the Market Broiler, which was like a run-of-the-mill fish place. But like all of these places,
And you're
like,
missing one.
oh, that's right, Ralph Brennan's Jazz Kitchen.
Hell yeah.
I was there for a while too, which was downtown Disney, which actually got me free entrance into Disneyland whenever I wanted, so we'd get really drunk and go.
And which is the one you punched the point of sale system?
That would be the Market Broiler restaurant.
Dude,
yeah.
those things are like $3,000 each.
Well,
Well, that's why he did it. Looked at his manager and walked out because he knew it was over.
what happened was like well, it doesn't matter. We're not going to recant that tale, but no, what I learned in those restaurants, especially like my first restaurant that I ever waited tables at was Bertolini's, and that was the people that ran that restaurant. They were out of Vegas, so a lot of them came. There's Bertolini's and Caesars. I don't know if it's still there or not, but it used to be in the Caesars Forum shops. And so one of the guys that was a manager there came out to general manage the Bertolini's and the Irvine Spectrum. Now I think it's a Javier's Mexican restaurant. But back then they were huge on steps of service. They were like, dude, you are here. These people are giving you their time and their money, and you are here to create an experience for them.
Yeah.
You have to get to their table within 30 seconds. You have to take their order. You have to be attentive. You have to make sure that they're not wanting for anything. You have to be the perfect blend of like there for them, but not annoying, right? And I loved that, and so I got used to that, and I got used to providing that experience
guys,
for people.
man.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You guys are
That's
here
the
for everybody
secret,
out there.
man.
all the
Exactly, but we
viewers.
are annoying.
Just try not to be annoying.
But so when I come to restaurants in San Francisco that are these amazing artisanal experiences, right? And I get service that I feel like is super under par because they're not training their wait staff to actually like give a shit. And then I get a bill for $300. I'm like, this is not what I know this could be, right? I don't if I'm waiting like 3 months to get a reservation for a place and it's the new cool shit, I better walk out feeling pretty special. And if I don't, like, that's the one thing I can't stand is when I feel like I'm putting them out by being a patron of their establishment.
Yeah, that's the
And I
worst.
fucking hate that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
When
You
a
have
waiter
every
looks at
right
you like, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, am I putting you out? I'm sorry. Like, I'm just giving you a $50 tip today. Maybe I won't, but I always do because I can't fucking break the rules. I have to make everyone happy.
No, man, I think you're 100% right. I think there's a lot of these places that are, selling like a fancy product, but they're not invested enough into their actual like training systems.
Yeah, there's no
like,
infrastructure.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate because, then you go to a place like, I think I went to a place called Progress. The Progress. You ever been to that restaurant in
Yeah,
San
I liked
Francisco?
it. Yeah, good spot.
Fucking great.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Expensive, but the service was insanely good.
Yeah.
And it made our night great because it was just, it's one of those nights
same
that
owners
just,
of Statebird Provision.
I thought so.
Yeah,
I thought
this
so.
is fucking
Statebird.
fantastic. Yeah.
State Bird's great too. So I mean, those are places where I'm like, you guys, this is a unique experience that I'm willing to pay for, right? Not every day, but you know,
It's like
once every
Rainforest
6 months.
Cafe.
Shut the
Exactly
fuck
like
up.
Rainforest
Unique
Cafe.
experience.
It is very
God, I
unique. Except
hate
you
you.
R.I.P.
can get that at
dude.
any. Are they
It's gone. Well, the one on Pier 39's gone. Out of nowhere.
That's a big.
Thin
That's
air.
a big.
Just like the real
building.
rainforest.
Yeah. Oh,
You know, they just
man.
rolled
Too
in. They
real.
got him. Yeah,
Too
yeah.
We had
real.
like 7 p.m. reservation that showed up and it was already shut down.
Yeah, I walk in. They're
You just
like,
you hear like the last little dying like.
girl,
"Caw."
like, walking
Almost
around
as sad as when me, Cool Greg, Joey, and Jen tried to go to Buca de Beppo after a movie.
Oh, is that gone?
Yeah. We walked over, the doors were locked. Like,
No.
fuck. All right, let's
Stuffed
try to find a
shells,
place that
bro.
can seat 8. God damn it.
Fucking
Stuffed
Francisco,
shells were
man.
so
Hey,
good.
this is what we wanted. This is what San Francisco wants. Death through the chains, birthplace of originality.
What's that
Birthplace
Taylor
Ra-
Swift song where she's like, "This is what you wanted"? Off of
Oh,
1989.
look what you made. Oh no,
I forget, but either way, but
Oh, you wanted this or whatever
this
when
is
she's
what you
talking.
wanted.
Yeah,
You got exactly what you
Yeah, yeah,
wanted.
exactly.
No, get in your bed and lie down.
But the problem, I mean,
She said,
not
I
to
am
rip
that.
off that,
That'd be
but
way
like
hot, though.
the sad reality
lay
of
down.
the sad reality of San Francisco right now is no one can afford to have a business in the city. The chains, the Nike women's store just went out of business in my neighborhood. They were like, no, we can't. This is just absurd. It's not cost effective anymore for anyone to run a fucking
I honestly
business in
wouldn't
SF.
doubt if these restaurants these chains were closed down were still very profitable, but they weren't profitable enough, so they were like weighing down their like average store profits.
Oh yeah,
Like they were just
100%.
like, okay, this is making us look bad, so let's just close it down.
100%. The only, I mean, there's like the only place I can think of that upgraded their building in San Francisco is the Apple store. They went from a giant like store on the market location to up the block. They bought the fucking Levi's building, and they made it this mega Apple store with like an atrium and like an open air experience.
What are they calling them now? Town squares or some
Town
shit?
squares, yeah.
Have you been to that?
And they call the aisles avenues.
Oh my god, it's beautiful. It's stunning, but
Just sell me your overpriced pen for my iPad.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
but I guarantee that store doesn't make any money. I guarantee that store is just
It's almost like a marketing fixture.
yeah, it's just marketing fixture. That's
So
all
when
it
you
is.
start going down the craft cocktail route, you're reading the books, you're doing all this stuff. Are you doing it just because you're interested, or are you forecasting what we're talking about?
No, oh hell no, man! I wasn't forecasting anything. I was just into it. Like I honestly
passion
just thought
for
this was it was just a passion. Like in the early days, I was like buying things like Campari and green chartreuse with my own money and taking them to the bar and just making cocktails for like my friends, and people who I knew were into it. And I guess like there was really I didn't really think there was a future in it until like I started coming out to San Francisco more often, and I was like, whoa, these like nice restaurants, man. People are paying for these drinks and these nice bars, and really, I would say like going to Bourbon and Branch for the first time was kind of like eye opening for me. I was like, whoa, there are other people out there who like care about
There's
this.
people
and are
like you.
nerdy about this and like really care.
Yeah.
And honestly, I was like, and then I ended up applying. I was like working at Bourbon Branch, I think like 2 months. I just grabbed all my stuff and just moved out here.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And was that a different experience than working at
Yeah,
BJ's?
definitely.
Like in terms of the people there and the clientele, like how did the tips reflect on you when it came to that? Like were people tipping
honestly,
you more?
I'd say
and,
no.
like-
You actually make more money, I think, working like nightclubs and sports bars. But then again, there isn't necessarily like a future for that. You know, no one's gonna fly you out to London and visit their gin distillery if you work at just a random sports bar.
But this is what's fascinating to me about this, right? Because I often envy people who like you might not necessarily have a plan, but you have a passion for something.
Yeah.
And I've looked, and a lot
contagious.
of people who are successful just talk about that they have that same kind of background where it's like, no, it was never the plan to do. Like for instance, I watched Jerry Seinfeld's new documentary, Jerry Before Seinfeld. Right, it's on Netflix.
Oh, I gotta watch that.
It's good.
It's on my list.
It's not great, but it's good. But what he talks about is he was just like, I was drawn to comedy, and I just really liked doing comedy, and I just thought to myself, if I can make a little bit of money and sustain myself, and I can do this forever, well, then I'm very happy with that. And of course, he goes on to be one of the most thriving comedians
so rich,
ever,
yeah.
right? Yeah, he's fucking super rich. But I find that fascinating because you're told from the day one, right, that you have to go to school, you have to get a degree, you have to get a job, you have to work, you have to climb a corporate ladder. But yet time and time again, I see people that are totally contrary to that have just followed their passions.
Yeah.
Smart people like you, creative people like you, who have then figured out kind of like, hey, this is something I have that's a marketable skill, and there's this burgeoning market for it, and let's capitalize off of this, right? At what point did you open Polite?
In what 2012 or 2013?
Okay.
Oh wow. That is not that long.
Yeah,
no,
we're
it was-
about
yeah.
to have our 5th year anniversary.
We're also throwing our community Christmas party there. When's that, Joey? I forget. What's the date?
The 11th.
The 11th of December.
Monday, the 11th of
Monday,
December.
the 11th of
We're
December.
doing an entire. We're actually not going to be Polite Provisions for that month.
Yeah.
We're going to be Miracle on 30th Street. We're doing the entire bar just Christmas.
I love
it.
that.
Yeah,
I am
love
not
it.
a Christmas guy. I'm not a fucking holidays guy.
Yeah, I am.
That is cool as all hell.
I told my
What's that
staff,
even gonna mean though?
I was like, by December 26th, you guys are gonna hate Christmas. And they just laughed like, oh, we don't care, man, we don't care.
That's awesome.
Well, for me, it's such a great merging of last year going up to Montreal, and one of the bars Jen was friends with up there, right? They did the same thing where they turned their bar into Christmas, and I never heard of it before. She said, we got to go get one shot because we were out getting wasted one night, and I walked in there and I was like, what the fuck? So to be able to see you do it, and like already see the articles being written about it, right? Because we're psyched. You're changing your name, you're putting fake snow in, you're putting trees in, you're putting candy canes in, like in your bar. Plate's awesome. I would hope a lot of people, if you haven't been there, you've seen photos of the meet and greets and stuff where it's just an amazing space, period, let alone to be decked out now on Christmas. It's going to be rad.
Yeah, I'm psyched, man.
Yeah. But to Nick's point, you go to Bourbon and Branch, like, how do you go from being world-class bartender, like, or just being bartender to world-class bartender to being bar owner to being, I'm going to drink at this gin distillery across the globe?
Yeah, but what I think what it was, you know, because working at like a award-winning bar or something is one thing, but I think really what it was when we did the bar at Rick House, that's really kind of what helped put it over the top.
Yeah.
Because me and some of the guys there that put the program together, we did something like fucking pretty awesome there, right?
What does that even mean though? What is a bar program?
A bar program is kind of where you actually come in and you create the infrastructure, you do the training, you create a menu.
You're creating custom cocktails, things
everything,
like that.
the whole concept, you're kind of doing it top to bottom where it's just like, you're not just handing everybody a packet and be like, okay,
So what are they doing then?
A lot of these places are kind of like, they'll go to a place like Rick House and they just see like, oh, this place is cool. Here's our menu. And then but there's no training. There's no like cohesive philosophy from top to bottom.
They'll own the space. They'll kind of make it look how they want it to look. And then you come in and just give them everything else, like all the other tools that they'll need.
The sooner we can get in, the better. Because then we can kind of get involved with like the infrastructure and actually building the bar and design. Like that's why I feel like Polite is the drinks are so fucking quick there because I'm a bartender and I designed the workflow. Behind the bar.
And you
so
can
it's
tell
like,
by the way.
These guys are just like they're making a drink out of our menu that's like 90 drinks in the menu. And they're never even moving their feet. They're just like grabbing everything.
Because that's the thing that always kills me is like not even knowing that part of it, but going to other bars and you see people running back and forth, running into each other. Behind you, stop, hold on. Somebody
you see
goes
them
around.
and you're just like, I mean, I'll tell you a story about a bar that was just like, you can tell this dude the person who owned it had never worked in like a sports bar or nightclub or anything because, they just didn't know what the hell they were doing. Like you go, you order a drink, the place is packed, and the guy goes and he just makes one drink.
Oh God!
Makes one drink. Okay, cool. Walks over to me. Oh, that's like $14. I give my credit card. The dude walks 20 feet to the register. Walks by everybody who's thirsty. Rings it in. Brings back my card. Walks back 20 feet right by everybody. You're
See it all the time.
What the fuck is going on here?
Some of my favorite bars in the marina that I used to go to, I just won't go back to because I just don't have the patience for it anymore.
These people they have no sense of urgency. They have no respect for systems or infrastructure.
No.
It's just like. Yeah,
or they're just,
they have no idea what they're doing.
like, and not to put it on to the bartender because bartenders, generally are some of the hardest working people in the industry. But maybe they're just burned out and they're just like, there's too many fucking people and we need one more person back here. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is, but like, I don't like the feeling of having to fight someone for a cocktail, like fights get into a bar at a cocktail, and I'm like, okay, people like that environment, so I just don't go to those anymore. I choose not to go to those anymore. But I'm like, how much better would this place be if I could just walk up and within 30 seconds, someone's like, "What do you want?" And then they come back with my drink and I walk away.
No,
so
there's
lovely.
this one experience I had with a friend of mine. I won't say his name. He's a good buddy of mine though. But this is when they were first getting into cocktails. He was just getting into them. Was like, oh man, I was visiting San Diego, and he's like, hey man, I heard you're in town. I want you to come check out what we're doing at the spot I'm working. So I'm like, all right. So I came and check it out. Drinks were good, and he's just like, oh, let me make you something, man. It's our maple old fashioned. It's like our top seller right now. Everybody loves it. And so he comes over, he starts making it, and he's like, okay, cool. And he walks like 15 feet away, and he comes out and gives it to me. He starts making it, and he's like, okay, cool. And he walks like 15 feet away, and he comes out and gives it to me. I'm like, oh, it's really good. And then he's like, before I left, he's like, hey, do you have any advice for us? Any advice at all, man?
You cracked your knuckles.
And I was just like, if there's one thing you could do to improve this experience is, if that's your number one selling drink, every well should have the maple syrup.
Yeah.
And he was just like,
Good
Whoa,
fucking
man, no way,
point.
that's crazy. I never thought of that.
Well, but that's the thing. Like, I feel like, and I'm a process nut, right? I
Yeah.
look for systems.
Yeah,
like,
I love 'em.
love. I mean, Tim will tell you. Like, I love there to be a step, like a 15-step thing of what to do for everything, so that we can look at it and make it better and better and better, right? And that's what I try to do here. Obviously, this system is this whole studio setup, so that we have one
It's a
person.
step up from the bedroom.
It's a scotch, right? A little bit, but like it's designed so that people, like obviously Kevin has done his work over there, but it's designed to be relatively turnkey, and that's so that we can, because the focus for us needs to be, we need to be able to come in here, focus on making the content, and not worry about anything, right? Kevin can take care of the whole thing. That's great. And so, but I just feel like you don't learn that until you've gone through and had someone like you be like, no, maybe, or like I learned it because of 10 years at IGN, like doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And not that IGN does it wrong. I did it wrong there. And a lot of the things that they do right now were because of my mistakes, were because of me going like, I don't know, maybe this should be this, maybe this should be this, right? And us learning and about like how a proper studio should run. And now they're fucking pro as shit.
Yeah.
But I took all those lessons and brought them over here.
Yeah, you're right.
But it's very hard for people to understand that. So it's really cool that you do that for people.
Well, the way you guys did it was perfect because you got to make all the mistakes while someone else is paying you. And it's like, you get to learn.
Trust
You
me,
get to learn
we
on
make-
their dime,
we
and then
make
you apply
plenty of
everything you learn.
mistakes
We have
here.
brand new mistakes we're making that cost us lots of money
yeah.
every day.
That's
Just
how I try to train myself. I'm just like, hey, one day you're gonna own your own bar, and I want you to learn it right here. That way, you're essentially being paid to learn how to run your own spot.
So when does that start? Did you know you're going to college, you're going to do this, then you realize you're in love with it, you start learning more. Does the plan become then, I'm going to get my own bar one
Finally,
day?
when I moved to San Francisco, I was just like, wow, there's like a future for this. And all of a sudden, reading the food press and the news, all of a sudden it's like, well, like people are getting written up in the New York Times. There's an article in, Time Magazine about craft cocktails. And you're like, you see Mad Men, you're like, okay, this is like a real thing. This is legit. This isn't just some weird hobby that I'm making money at. So it's like, but even then, you're kind of just like, all right, well, I'm just gonna write it and see where it goes. And this next thing you know is, cocktails would take me around the world.
Hell yeah,
and it's crazy, Yeah. And I even have a lot of respect for you guys in the sense where I remember before you guys left IGN, you guys were like stressed and like, man, I don't know if people are gonna care enough, man. Like, are we making a mistake? So I would say, to come back to what you're saying, it's about believing in yourself.
Sure.
And then knowing that you not only have the passion to make it happen, but you have the discipline. Because I feel like so often you hear people say, oh, you got to be passionate about what you do. You're like, yeah, that's true, but you need to be disciplined and like willing to work for it.
I had an old boss a long time ago. I think about this a lot. Well, I used to work for a small videography business that shot like industrials, but primarily shot wedding videos. And when I had gotten the offer from IGN, I was like, of course I'm taking this, right? This is a salary job with benefits, and it's like at a real company that has like all these amazing opportunities for me, just sitting right there. And he pulled me aside. He's like, "Are you sure this is what you want to do?" And I'm like, "Why do you say that?" He goes, "Well, because." He goes, I've worked for people before, and I can tell you now, having owned my own business, that that's where you want to be. And I'm like, yeah, but I think back on that, and if I could have that conversation with him again, I'd be like, you're absolutely right, but you still need to get some of those tools from other people to put into your tool chest before you go at it on your own. Because I know so many people that started their own video business that struggled for so long because they weren't in an ecosystem that could smash them into the fucking sharp tool that they needed to be.
Yeah.
It was trial and error, but not at a level that mattered. And when I came into IGN, it was like, the first interview I had was with like, I forget the guy's name, but with like a mega athlete on the 49ers. And they were like, and Fran was like, oh yeah, you just need to make sure you like this interview and shoot it right. And I'm like, I'd never done that before.
What do you mean by right?
I know. I was like, but the thing is, I don't even know if Fran knew it. Like he was just like, get in there and do it right. And I look back at that interview and I'm like, that was hideous, but it had the makings of some of the things that you're seeing here now, right?
Yeah.
And whatever. I mean, he didn't care. He was just happy to be at IGN.
It looked like one of those things where he's in like the witness protection program. It's just a silhouette.
Well, no, I mean,
I
like I remembered in school, I was like, okay, 3-point lighting, and I kind of like Googled it, and then I looked back on that interview and I did it wrong. Like I had backlight, which is good, but I had the key light on the wrong side of him, so it looked like a lineup. He was just like, like the light was right, but it doesn't matter because I'm like that. But like because of that, and because looking at that, and then looking what other people in the industry were doing, and then seeing them be like, why does that shot look better? And then getting the opportunity to hire freelancers that came in and be like, dude, you're doing this totally wrong. And then seeing that and seeing the audience go like, dude, why does this look so good? Or why does this look so bad? Things like that. And then figuring out how to edit and add B-roll and really craft pieces. All those were because I was willing to do that. But then after a certain point, it was, yeah, okay, what the next step for us is, how do we take all those things, exactly what you just said, that passion and those tools, and apply them to maybe something we want to do on our own?
For me, my side of it is, and in hindsight's 2020 always and whatever, and I'm just pulling this out of my ass, but had I not ever went to IGN, had I just made YouTube videos, and Tim and Alfredo just done that shit, I truly believe that we'd have 500,000 subs now.
Probably.
We had put out a video a week that like gets more views than anything we put out now, but we wouldn't know how to monetize it. We would not be making any money. We would also need to do other side jobs. We'd probably be baristas at Starbucks or Best Buy or whatever still, just to make enough money to have two things add up to whatever. But being at IGN taught me how to look at it as a business and how to look at it as a, how do I do what I want to do? And not worry that if there's a million people watching it, but worry that there are enough people watching it to sustain it and to actually turn it into something where I don't need to worry about making enough money. I just need to worry about sustaining the quality and pushing forward what we're doing. And it's like, I'm eternally grateful to IGN for allowing me the opportunities to understand how sales teams work, how the structure, the foundation and structure of what a video team is.
Well, that was the thing too, right? It was because there was a time at IGN when Fox owned them, where it was a lot more compartmentalized, and it wasn't by any like there was no reason for it. That's just how the business had run. And then I think there was a bit of a renaissance when they were bought out by Ziff, because the company downsized it a little bit, and what that gave us the opportunity to was like really kind of interact with all those other groups for the first time.
Can I get a bowl?
Let's get a bowl. Cool, Greg. And I think that's cool because it allowed everyone to have the curtain just kind of pulled aside and been like, hey, everyone, just go over to sales and talk to them, right? We had people that were specifically like, hey, I think it would be a good idea if we could have a little bit more collaboration between engineering and sales and like the VPs and all those things. And, you know, to Pear's credit and to Fran's credit and the guys that ran it, they facilitated that. And I think that was a really positive step for them.
So Eric, I mean, we talk about ourselves all the time, right? And like what we've built. And it's that thing I know, thank you so much, going a million miles an hour ahead. Do you ever do the thing where you stop and look back and like, fuck, I own my own bar? And all these people,
because I have the bar in New York too.
Oh, right, Boilermaker. Yeah. Like you're doing this, like, you know, it seems like your career was, all right, doing this. All right, I'm doing this. Now I'm building Rick House's plan. And then all of a sudden you have Polite. Okay, now you're helping with Boilermaker.
Yeah, definitely, man. I'd say it is pretty crazy. You get to the point where you're kind of just like, wow, like 15 years ago, none of these opportunities were available for a bartender. And just some of the stuff that we do, you know, just working with national accounts, like, you know, doing cocktail presentations at like Cheesecake Factory or something like that, right? You know, directing
they need
film.
some help. I was just there on the weekend.
How dare you, sir?
Well, no, that's the. I mean, that's
they've
why
got their drinks on point. They give you a giant Diet Coke.
Yeah, we're like they're
their Moscow Mule
of all the chains
was a lemonade.
Yeah.
It was very bad.
Their Moscow Mule's lemonade?
Yeah, man. It was the Moscow Mule was in a cup like this big.
Yeah.
And it was just lemonade.
Well, that was the thing. I mean, hanging out with Eric for so long.
I'm gonna try to work.
And that's the thing of like how disappointing it is to go to a steakhouse. And I'm not even talking like necessarily a chain, just a nice steakhouse in San Francisco. You're like, let me get an old fashioned. You get it and it's all muddled and terrible. You're like, oh, fuck, how is this possible? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it seems so easy.
17, man.
We have a YouTube video on this, and he's so perfect. You could easily watch it. And then the amount of times I was with Colin Moriarty, and he would get in fights with bartenders when he would say, can you not do that? Can you do this? And he's like, well, that's not an old-fashioned. Colin would be like, no, it is. No, it is. And start arguing with them.
Pull him off the bar.
Yeah, exactly. You've changed everybody's lives.
Outside, man. No, yeah, man, it is kind of weird when, like, I mean, just I was in Belize recently, and I signed an NDA, so I can't tell you why I was there.
For some of your trips, though, explain how that happes. Like, is it that you're buying so much gin, people are inviting you to come tour the gin?
Sometimes that happens, but then sometimes it's one of those situations like, hey, I'm gonna make something up here. We're in Jamaica, and we're releasing a new rum, right?
Yeah.
We're releasing a new like Jamaican funky rum, and we want you to come out and, you know, take a look around the distillery, try some of our products, meet our distiller, and tell us where you think this is going to fit into the market. And maybe, you know, brainstorm some ideas with us. And what we'll do is, you know, we'll charge them. And we'll kind of go out there and meet
kind of a consulting fee.
Yeah, it's a consulting fee.
Sure.
Just kind of figure out like where it belongs. And you're like, okay, cool. I tasted your bourbon or your scotch. I think this is the market you would need to go for. These are the accounts you're going to want to get into first. And we kind of just basically, you know, regardless of what the spirit is, we'll kind of talk to them on how it should roll out.
At any point, have you thought about starting your own like brand of alcohol? Have you thought about George Clooneying it?
Never know what can happen, bro.
That's what I'm talking about. What can happen. I'll tell you one thing right now, man. looking at what George Clooney made off that last deal, brother.
That's insane.
Shit.
Well, I mean, good for him because the poor guy, you know,
He's
not the best looking dude. He's never
can't
got
rub
lucky,
two
right?
pennies together. You know, he doesn't have two pennies
He
to rub
can't get
together.
anyone amazing to
No.
marry him. He's
Poor
just
guy
really
just never
fucking
gets
losing
laid.
it.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like.
That's
Couldn't happen a great
Yeah, this is all out of order in a time warp for you, the viewer watching this later on YouTube. But just yesterday, we did the episode with Justin, a Patreon supporter who came on, and him and two of his colleagues from his other business are starting their own whiskey.
Yeah.
and they're making it down in Mexico. He's telling us all about it. What their their distillery systems is going to be.
It's actually a good move. Tell him to email me.
Okay, we'll do. And that's what I was like. I'm like, it's funny because Erick's on tomorrow. But it is that thing of like how awesome it is to see people able to get into this business and make it work. And it's the same thing I always think about, not bourbon or spirits, but Ryan De La Rosa over in Texas, a fan of ours for forever. He was the first person ever at IGN to hit up Damon and be like, hey, if I just flew, I'm a big GameScoop fan. If I flew myself out, would you and Greg hang out? And we were like, all right, yeah, you want to come to the Sega party we're going to? That's how different it was, right? Because nobody ever asked those things. Yeah. And we met him then, and now he's like, he's a home brewer. He's making all his own beer, and he's getting ready to start his own Flying Rhino, I believe, brewery restaurant, and all that stuff. You know what I mean?
You guys, by the way, kudos to everyone. You guys have great fucking names. Polite
Provisions
Provisions and
is a dime.
Brewery was a
Dope as
badass
fuck.
fucking name. Flying Rhino is pretty awesome name too.
But in the opening a brewery can be tough, but
Yeah.
the fact that he's doing it in a restaurant is actually a better move.
Yeah.
Because
Well, that's what kills people, right? Like when I talk to my friends who do run restaurants in San Francisco, they're always like, well, you know what makes the money is the booze. And
Yeah.
if you don't have enough thing for that, you're not making enough margin. So it all falls apart and it falls apart. And that's why, like, we doubled back to it a while ago of whatever. And when we talk about ourselves, it's
You guys
passion.
are gonna
And
get fucked up. On
we're
this
making it for
one.
Joey too. Don't worry. Joey's in there too.
He's not being conservative on these pours. I'm telling you right now.
Don't worry.
Tim's like, oh, I gotta stop drinking so much. Nope, not today.
Not today. Yeah. But it's the fact that, like,
These are thirsty boys, man.
They're grown boys.
And
They're
gals.
grown boys.
I love seeing you succeed, Eric, because you deserve it so much. But then the fact that you have so much fun doing it.
Yeah.
When I think about, like,
I would do this shit for free.
yeah. And when I
Really?
think about not a care in the world, I think about you. And I know it's not true. We're lucky enough that we're friends and we hang out, we go to New Orleans, we do these things together. And I've seen you not get mad, but you never get Greg Miller mad. Yeah. But like, if I can tell Eric's upset about something, I'm like, oh fuck. Yeah. Okay, you know what I mean? But like, you are literally like so nice and so into it, and you have fun, and you work with your friends, and you do all this stuff. And like, it seems like your biggest problem is like when you have to go on tour for something, you're like, oh, I'm drinking 14 days in a row, brother.
man,
It's killing me.
That's a real thing though, because like honestly, you know, I've been trying to lose a little weight and get a little fitter.
It's working out.
Not so much anymore. But that is something that I have yet to figure out, right? Which is what's the road schedule going to look like? How do you maintain some level of
this gorgeous
sanity?
physique.
Oh my God. But like even me going, like there's just something weird in my brain that the second I get on a plane, I'm like, yeah,
Vacation.
fuck it. I mean, like, let's play reunion. I hit the ground, we're on the ground for one day, and I'm like, who wants to order pizza?
And then the next day, from Pizza
Who wants to
Hut
order
and
pizza again?
Domino's.
Yeah. I was like, I
You
haven't
were
had
a
Domino's
monster.
in a while. Oh my God, we're watching fucking American Vandal. We're having a slumber party. Greg's
American
upstairs.
Vandals
It's
completely
so
underrated.
good.
It is
It's
so,
so
good.
good.
It is so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder. We're really long on this. I don't know if you want to.
I think this is one of our rambling topics.
Okay.
Or
Shows,
shows.
100%.
I'm going to transition here in a second. I think bartender at large is like part of this. And that'll
I
be-
do want to talk about that, but the question I have is like, everything that's happening here, and maybe we don't have the tools for this, but do we feel like that's going to happen with like the marijuana industry, right?
Ooh.
And that's my big question, because I know
Craft marijuana.
that's the undiscovered country right now, right? That's where the gold rush is for a lot of people. You have a
Yeah.
lot of people trying to figure out how to navigate the weird legalities of starting their own dispensaries,
Yeah.
and like you can grow some, but you have to like.
Well, I feel like that shit's popping off already.
It is,
isn't
but
it?
that's
Like,
my question. Is like,
When I
especially
have like friends
in
visit from
Colorado.
other states, and they're like, "Wait, how much was this? It's $20. You got all this for $20?"
yeah, man.
You're like, it's a free market, brother.
But that's my question. So like that's what I'm gonna be fascinated to watch is like do we think we're ever gonna get to a time where because right now I think marijuana still is very, very stigmatized where like you can't smoke a joint. Like you can drink a beer on the sidewalk, someone like, hey, that guy's cool, he's drinking a beer on the sidewalk. But you smoke a joint, everyone's like, oh, I don't know, man. Like that's still someone might fuck
Here
with
in
you
San
still.
Francisco, like you see,
Has anyone ever reacted that way to weed?
I mean,
Yes, you do.
no, not here.
Yeah.
But what I mean is like, you know, if I'm at a bar, it's still culturally acceptable to walk into a bar for me and Instagram that I'm having a cocktail with Tim.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
But I don't feel comfortable if you and I were to smoke a joint at a dispensary being like, we're fucking, we're blazing up,
Smoke some
right?
fatty
Because I just feel like
blunts,
we're not there as a society
Now,
yet
as it's
where
quick time out.
acceptable.
When it's legal in California, we are doing an episode high, right?
I think it's legal already, though.
no, we're doing.
That's what. This is exactly what I'm saying. Like,
I'll tell you what
where
the
it's
future
all
is,
marketed.
man. I'll tell you what the future is for weed and how people are gonna make more money. Hey, can we grab more ice?
Yeah, 100%. Cool, Greg.
I'll tell you what. Like, once you create,
Can we get more ice?
like, and people are gonna watch this like I don't know 10 years from now and be like, oh yeah, of course they fucking do that. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
It's obvious. But like a bar where you can actually go and enjoy it at,
That's a perfect.
where you
yes.
can actually go into a place and you're like, oh yeah, I'll take this, and that, like in
Because-
Amsterdam, and you smoke it, and there's fucking cookies and food,
Fuck yeah.
and it's like kind of classy, so you don't feel like,
it's
Well, that's it.
craft
you don't feel
cocktail
dodgy.
culture.
Yeah, it'll be like really nice and really fancy, and there'll be servers that come by. And
Do you feel like it's going to be that, or do you feel like it's going to be you're going to go to a craft cocktail bar and they will also sell marijuana?
I don't know. I think a lot of people are kind of afraid to mix them too much.
Oh, they fuck me up when I mix it too much, so I won't do it.
And
But
plus,
I'm also
like the thing is, I
lightweight.
think for a lot of bar owners, you don't necessarily want a tourist coming in, especially maybe in like a more of a tourist city. Someone coming in who's like, oh, they have free weed. The weed's legal here. And they smoke something that's way better than they've ever smoked, and they're just bombed.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then they have it old fashioned, then that dude is just sitting on
Yeah,
your
and
Guy
all
you
over
have to,
the place.
pull 'em out
Yeah.
that- Well, that
you
but
kind of
that-
don't
but-
necessarily want that.
But that's the crazy thing, right? Because I recently went to Denmark, and I stumbled across because of a recommendation from one of the best friends this really really cool gaming. I don't know what you would call it, but kind of like a board gaming establishment where people could go and drink, but you could also get coffee and you get little snacks. And that was like kind of a cultural thing for them. It was niche, but it wasn't so niche that it's like the fucking board game place down there that went out of business. Like everyone, it
the
was
Empire Board Game Club on Ocean
man,
Avenue.
I often wonder what that used
Bless
to
you,
be
my
like.
friend. Thank you.
But that was cool to me because I'm like, I walk in there are kids here, there are adults here, there are teenagers here, there are older people here. Everyone's enjoying their time because this is a part of their establishment. Then I come back here and I'm like, it really is sad that we only have, if you're an adult, like 2 acceptable places you can go at night. There's either a bar or a restaurant that serves alcohol, and that's
Hey,
pretty much
don't
it.
underrate Starbucks, my friend.
But they're not open all night.
Well, yeah, on San Bruno it is.
Yeah.
That's fair. There's a Laurel Village one.
CHP's got
Yeah,
their coffee.
Laurel
There's
Village
also
too.
the Burger King one that dude was making a joke about.
Shady-
where it's like,
Shady Burger King,
I love
dude.
that joke where he's like, this is not so much a Starbucks as it is a crack dealership that also sells coffee.
There's some weird like coffee thing going on in the
Yeah,
back.
there's some weird coffee thing going on in the back. That's really funny.
Well,
but-
see, what fascinates me and is a good transition into bartender at large.
Yeah.
But what you get and what you talk about is when you talk about the bars you own, the bars you've run, all these different things, you don't talk about the booze, you don't talk about the drinks. I mean, you do, but what you talk about is hospitality.
Yeah.
And I feel that's the common thread that'll link up when it's legal to smoke
Dude.
weed or start your own thing.
And I'm telling you, man, it's like everyone is like, sweating all over Twitter. Like the economists and the press were tripping about retail, how retail is doing so poorly.
yeah,
And
it's dying.
Retail,
Brick and mortar.
yeah. But like some of the places are doing real well still. The place, it's like, but customer service is so shit today
Yeah.
that like, it's like people are just going like, well, I went into like, actually, I'll tell you about a really bad experience I have. Can I name brands here?
Sure.
Okay, I walked into Best Buy. I bought a really nice Sony camera, and I went online and was like, okay, cool. I'm gonna come pick this up. And like, oh, cool. It'll be ready for you in an hour. But I guess somewhere in there it's like we'll email you, right? So I wait 4 hours. I go in there, and the girl doesn't even address me. I'm just standing there. She's just like doing something else.
Yep.
Just fooling. Like, wait, instead of being like, sir, I'll be with you 1 second when I'm done with this. So,
Sure.
whatever. Running commentary. You remember that from working in restaurants. She just completely ignores me. Whatever. It's like 30 seconds later. Yeah. What do you need? I'm here to pick up the camera for blah, blah, blah. Erick Castro. She's like, it's not ready. Did they email you? You just come back when they email you. So I'm like, I'm going to get back in my car and drive away.
All right.
Okay. So I'm just like, all right. So I just walk to the camera department, which is 40 feet.
Right.
Oh, do you have a Sony A7R2? Oh, yeah. Here it is. Oh, cool. Ring it up. Dude charged me, gives me the receipt. It's just like, but I mean, think about it. It's like, I would have rather ordered from Amazon.
Oh, 100%.
This is what I
actually,
mean for it.
pro tip, by the way, order from B&H Photo Video. You're from
Yeah.
New York. If
Okay.
you're
No
ordering
tax.
in California, there's no tax, no sales tax. So if you
fantastic.
buy
You
anything that's
save
really
so much
expensive,
money.
you save a
I
shit.
could've saved
All
like
this,
Yeah.
B&H. Not to give a shout out to them, but
No,
Good
good call, man.
B&H is like Disneyland for us.
oh god, it's
adults.
fucking no, it's not Disney. It's fucking Willy Wonka's chocolate factory.
Well, that's
You
what.
went-
Yeah.
When Kevin and Cool Greg went to New York for SummerSlam, Kevin made a point to go to B&H
It's-
just to be like,
it's Kevin's
I'm
Mecca.
here. Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
at the Mecca.
Have you been there before to B&H?
No.
Have you?
I've walked by it for New York Comic Con a bunch of times.
We've talked about it before, but it's if you are anywhere near New York, even if you're just visiting New York, you should go check this out.
Yeah, it's in Manhattan.
Because it's this big ass thing, and it's like all the electronics you could want, and it's not just like the Best Buy or Target electronics
Were you like
section.
Tom Hanks and Big?
Where,
Ding, 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 ding.
It's kind of like
yeah,
Sports.
it really
it's
is.
kind of like that.
But it's like instead of it just being like, a couple hard drives, it's like pro level shit. Like it goes all the way. It's not just limited quantities of things. So you can get any type. It's like when there's a branded TV, instead of it just being the LG, it's all 4 variations of the LG. So it's awesome. But the key thing is the entire
conveyor system.
Roof, the ceiling is this conveyor belt system where things are actually being shipped.
Yeah.
So people they'll
Because
pack
you buy it upstairs,
package it
but
up.
you pick it up in the bottom. So you buy something and they'll go pick it up downstairs. You go all the way down and you'll see it in this like rail system.
It's like hamster tubes and
It's like
shit.
that. It's like the,
Robot
it's like
arms are like packing
the
it
chubby
in.
German kid that gets stuck in the tube and Willy Wonka.
Oh my god! It's
Oh
the
no, my
coolest thing.
belly's full of chocolate.
No, but dude,
Is that a line for when he got stuck
That was
in the
The
thing?
Simpsons, actually.
I thought so.
Don't
Right.
tickle me. My belly's full of
And
chocolate.
I'm saying you've totally elaborated my point, because I bet you when you go into B&H, which you guys are very passionate about,
Great customer
and you walk
service.
in there and you're like, yeah, exactly. You're like, I'm looking for this lens. Dude will be like, okay, what kind of camera you have? Blah blah. Here, let me walk you through. And the, homeboy is like well versed on the camera, and
yeah.
equipment, and everything. They totally help you out, and it's like that's why they're doing really well. I guarantee you.
Great customer service too. I've had to do a couple returns and things like that via the phone, and they're pretty Johnny on the spot. I always liken this to theaters, to movie theater going experience, right? The theater experience is desperately trying to evolve, and the ones that I think are doing really successful at it is a lot of the theater chains here have moved over to reserved seating, right, which is a step.
It's amazing, yeah.
Vastly
seating?
great. Comfortable seating. But the ones that I think are doing it right are the Alamo Draft House, because they're realizing that they're like, this is less about a movie going experience, more about a community experience, an experience where you can come and feel like you're being around other people and still get a decent meal. Although the wings, definitely, we got to talk to them about the
They need
wings.
some help.
We've tried repeatedly, but they
Wings
don't
not
listen to
great,
me.
but the experience overall I like a lot, because I'm like, oh, this is cool. This is something unique, and we can come, and it's kind of a party environment. So I dig it. Tim doesn't like it, but I dig it.
Tim and
the
Kevin hate
biggest
it.
flip flopper in the entire world.
What are you talking
Nick.
about?
He's on my side though. He's flopped to my side, so I'm all about it.
Alamo.
Flopped on your side. So.
Wait. Well, I criticize Alamo. I don't think they're
You're
perfect.
not down with Alamo?
But what I'm saying is, I like what they're trying to do. I like that they're going, hey, guess what? We're going to show fucking crazy ass movies here every once in a while, and we really care about films, and we're going to show films that are brand fucking new, and we're also going to have a Ghostbusters night.
That's the thing about it for Alamo that I don't think I've ever really expressed well enough in what we talk about, is I think there's the reserved seating, there's the food, there's the drink and all that. But why I think I'm so loyal to them is the fact that they have a victory program that actually does get me free tickets and rewards. I am the guy who goes for Terror Tuesday or Monster Squad or some weird off
We saw
movie
Ghostbusters together.
that
It was
nobody would
great.
see there. And like they come out and they give an introduction, they talk, and you are around. Like when I went and saw Love Actually there, and they handed out like the Love Actually faces, and you're there with other Love Actually fans, and it's like it's so goofy and stupid, but it does make it feel like, oh man, I'm around friends in this thing. It is a communal thing. Yeah.
It's community, and I think, and this is weird. I mean, I often think about this, and I'm like, I wonder if a lot of these places are going to have an upswing because of everyone's so disconnected these days, right? Like I wonder if, because everyone's sort of like ordering everything at home and not necessarily needing to leave, if they're yearning for places like this where like, I kind of just do want to go out and find other people like me IRL where I can talk to and be around them, because we are kind of a tribal people. We do need each other, whether we like to admit that or not. And that's why I respond very well to Alamo, because I walk in and I'm like, this is Film fucking Nerd Central. These are my people. This is not a movie theater. This is a fucking church.
And the whole staff is like that. It's not just like, it's not a gimmick. Like, I mean, you'll be sitting at the bar, and all of a sudden you get in a conversation about like, Hitchcock movies or something. And the dude's like having an engaged conversation with like intelligent opinions and stuff. And you like move on to other movies.
Dude, the one here has a movie
The
rental.
bartenders here know about like really nerdy movies. This is so awesome.
And it's the care of the pre-show stuff that is like,
curated.
Somebody went through and curated this, 20-minute clip reel that isn't fucking, hey, I'm Maria Menounos, and here I'm on the set of fucking TBS's new show with Ted Danson. Who the fuck cares about
Ted Danson? Fuck it, I love Ted Danson.
I love Ted Danson
The Good Place is
too.
good. The Good Place is good.
That's true. I don't know, but I think about that a lot too, and I think that might be. I mean, obviously that's bar 101.
And that's the whole thing, is it all speaks back to why chains are struggling, why retail is struggling, but why somebody like Alamo Draft House isn't. They're expanding
Or like
and going crazy.
In-N-Out. A place like In-N-Out's still just further expanding, just doing better.
There's another In-N-Out here.
As there
They
should be.
opened another In-N-Out in Daly City. It's crazy. Like,
gangbusters,
walking
right?
distance from the other one.
A perfect example, right? Was exactly what
Service
you're talking
there
about.
is amazing.
You're in a line and you're like, fuck, this line's really long, and some poor kid is walking up taking orders, and by the time you get there, you're fucking done.
No,
It's
and that's
great.
true. Like In-N-Out service and the workers there compared to any fast food around here is night and day, and they get paid for it too.
Yeah.
They get
like benefits, right? Or
In-N-Out
something
gets
like
paid
that.
way more than the other fast food things.
Think about it. When's the last time you had a really bad customer service experience at In-N-Out?
Never, I don't think.
Never have.
I've been eating there my whole life.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Clearly. But no, that's what makes things stand out. And I think we're back to what we're talking about too, just the fact that why craft cocktail and smaller bars are able to do this is because you go in there and you have this experience. It's why, as much as we'll give them shit or whatever, but when we go to like an artisanal restaurant and they tell you all this stuff, like, oh, and this was sourced from this, and this oyster's from this. His name was Charlie, and the guy who caught him lost his wife 10 years ago, but he's been, you know what I mean? Like, they go in that whole.
The menu says bread pudding, but it's actually more of a gelée. So you have to forgive us. It's a bit of a misnomer.
But it is the same thing of like, holy, like when we go to State Bird, right? State Bird is like, holy shit, you care about everything you're doing, and I can have a conversation with you. And I
feel
have fun.
like you're at a friend's house.
And it's not a San Francisco thing. Like Jen and I eat out and go to a lot of cool places, right? I think our favorite dining experience ever is Joe Beef up in Montreal, which is hard to get a reservation. And when you get in, it is like just 2 super small rooms, candlelit. The menu is just written on a chalkboard. You go through and you sit down, and like when the wait staff comes over, it's like we're their only table. It's like, hey, and she's like, what do you guys want to spend for wine tonight? We give her okay. She comes back with it. She has a story for every bottle of wine and what this should be. And we were there for like 3 or 4 hours, right? Just drinking and eating and having such a great time.
Tim's rolling his eyes.
It's just so I'm all about the experience. Like my favorite bar in San Francisco is Local Edition.
Yeah.
Not because of the drinks and stuff, because I would never know. I don't think I've ever had one because I've had to wait so long to get there to get one.
Sick
but
burns.
Just they commit to the theme and they commit to it being an experience so much that I'm like, I do enjoy that a lot. But yeah, I just don't ever go there planning to drink. If I was going to
and that's fair too. Like but you're getting yourself into that, right? And again, coming back to me, like it's not fair for me to say this is my expectation of what this night's going to be and try to apply that to some place that's clearly trying to go their own way. I get that, and plus, again, I'm not a huge cocktail fan, so like me going there and be like, why can't I get a Bud Light real fast? It's like, come on, dude, you're in the wrong fucking place.
Do you know that he'll drink Coors Light on ice?
Yeah.
It's good. It's a craft cocktail. Try it.
Hashtag advanced mixology.
Yeah. There is a bar though that you went to once with me. That I would say in terms of drinks is my favorite in San Francisco, which is the Forgery.
Yeah.
Oh right,
That's a good spot. Yeah.
I love
good
it
spot.
because it's the exact opposite of what we're talking about. I mean, it's a craft cocktail place, and it is an experience in the sense of they wear the funny clothes and all that stuff. But the drinks are phenomenal, and you never have to wait because there's no one there. Like I'll be surprised that place
A lot of
stays
it's about
around
just
so
like,
long.
we were talking about operations. The way you want to run your place is make it easy to drink, easy to spend money.
Yeah.
And you're saying Alamo. The reason why I think Alamo does it so well is like you're sitting in there. It's a good part of the movie. You're like, oh shit, I just killed my beer.
Yeah, I mean,
You're like,
another
I want another beer, but fuck, it's like,
And then-
it's a shootout of this action movie, and all of a sudden, the server comes by. Do you care for another beer? You're like, yes, I will.
I
I
do
would love
love
another
it.
beer,
Car.
and send me out to order a flatbread.
Thank you very much. So it was amazing.
you're here,
Truffle
Because
papa.
they make it so easy.
We haven't talked about it. Last time you were in town, you, me, and Sin ended up at where it was PCH. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
That bartender or the bar off of Union Square down there,
great
right,
name for a bar,
right
too.
to the right of where Kevin got married. If you're coming out the front door.
Okay, yeah.
And that place was awesome. It was small. They had great cocktails, and to set the stage for everybody, I introduce Erick Castro, of course, is world famous bartender all the time, right? And I think for most people, that's a joke to them. Maybe they don't understand if that's a real thing.
I know my friends who watch this are going to give me shit about,
It's
famous
fine.
bartender.
We go into this bar. We sit down at this bar. It's me, Eric, and Sin. You've been there earlier in the night, but you liked it so much we came back. We all sit down, and they bring over napkins, and they give me and Sin paper napkins, and they give Eric a linen. And I was like, they put it down and like walked in. I was like, oh, well, la-di-da. And I was making a joke about it. And you picked it up. He's like, yeah, it's just this thing if they know you're in the industry. And it was monogrammed EC. They have all these napkins back there
That
for
is
anybody who
baller
walks
as
in and like they know it. Like that's
what
like
the hell?
That was
The-
a nice touch, dude.
the hospitality, the
That is
respect of the
great-
industry.
that is a
Like
great sign.
It's one of those things where I love going out with you and experiencing it. And you've obviously, I think you were there right as I think Colin and I crossed over into the fact of like, oh, like we're not kids anymore and we can go out to these kind of places and we do want to go to nicer restaurants and doing all this different stuff. But to go in there and like just from afar, but then also get a little bit of a peek behind the curtain with you.
Yeah.
The way everyone in your industry treats each other is so heartwarming, let alone the way they treat customers. And the way that I feel like there's places I'll go to, and I'm not talking about food or restaurant, but other businesses where I just feel out of place and they're not welcoming and they're not helpful and you just want to go away.
Sometimes they're aggressively not helpful.
Right. Whereas this, when you go into a nice cocktail bar and it literally is like, what do you guys want? I don't know. What do you like? You know what I mean? Hold on. And there's one up in Montreal that was the same way, which I think I've told you about it. I don't know the name off the top of my head, but it's in an old bank vault. Where you walk in and like this door pulls back and you go into, it's not a bank vault. It's just
Scrooge McDuck's
hidden
there.
between. Shut up. I'm kidding. No Scrooge McDuck. Wouldn't that be awesome though if there was?
I do need to watch the new.
But you go behind this thing. You go.
Really good.
It's called McDucks.
You go into this. You go into this hole in the wall, hidden behind a wall thing, right? And there's 15, 20 seats there. And me and Jen went in there. We like heard it was there. We didn't know much about it though. Went in there, sat down. This woman comes over. She's like, "Hi, I'll be your bartender tonight." And she's the only person working. And she leaves the bar to come over and talk to you. And she's like, "Well, we don't have a classic menu. Like, I can make you something if you want, like an old fashioned or whatever. But like, what do you like? And let me try to make a drink based on that." And it's just 15 or 20 people, so she can give that personal service to every. It was amazing, and it's like such a great experience.
And I bet you tips wise, she's probably killing it.
Yeah, of course.
Because I'm telling you, it's like she's bringing together like awesome service, not only, but also tailor-made service that's specific to you.
Yeah.
And also just like hospitality, where it's in creating community. It's like all these places and all these businesses in the future, if you can create that, you're gonna kill it.
Right.
You're gonna kill it.
So now, talk to me then about Bartender at Large. It's a documentary you made.
Yeah.
It's another one of those things that Erick Castro hits you up for anything. He's like, "Hey man, giant shit-eating grin. I'm gonna make a movie." And I was like, "What? You don't know make a movie?" And then here we are. Your movie's won all these awards. It's out now. People can finally get it. What is Bartender at Large?
So we filmed a documentary on documenting craft cocktails across the U.S. Where it's like, we were talking earlier how like New York and San Francisco, LA, all these places like obviously have great cocktail bars, cocktail scenes, but now we're at the point where like I'm like you're in Knoxville, you're in fucking Plano, Texas, and you're going to a bar and they have like fantastic cocktails. We're at the point now where the cocktail has like re-permeated the U.S. culture for the first time in the last like 50 years, like proper cocktails.
And so what I loved about the base of the documentary, because I saw it when you came through and did the showing at the Alamo, and I've talked to you obviously for what feels like years about it. Yeah, right. But it was the idea that you're like, yeah, so cool. I'm gonna go to what is it like? It was 16
went to
something.
Like Boise.
You just went to random cities
places,
that you're like, there's something cool going on here, and I want to show it. And you drove across the country, right?
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah, it's really crazy, man. Especially when you consider
you're running 2 bars at the time. You decide to do this.
And I have absolutely no background in film whatsoever.
Yeah. How does it all start? Like, where's the idea start?
It was like really it's something that almost happened. It was like an idea I've been trying to make happen for like 6 years. And it's like I was kind of pushing for it, and I'm actually glad it didn't happen until it happened. But I was pushing it, almost had it with did it with my last job, and they were like, no, legalities, it's not going to work. Then I almost found another sponsor with a bourbon company. Talks go on for like 6 months, 9 months, falls apart. And finally, in the last talks with another company, like in 2015, it fell apart. We're like, fuck it. You know what? If we're going to do it, we just have to do it ourselves. Because also it's like all the liquor companies, they wanted to like control the message.
Yeah.
Like, oh, cool.
They want to use it as a big promo for whatever you're doing.
Yeah,
That's
we
not what
use
this is.
blah, blah, blah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it turns into
That's
a commercial.
hard.
It's just crap. So we were kind of like, you know what? Like, I studied journalism in college. I'm like, man, if we're going to do this the right way, we got to do it on our own.
Objective.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm talking about, right? When I go back to it, it's like my brain always says you're going to do something, you got to do it perfect, right? But that's not necessarily the quickest path to making something or to having something be a success, right? Because more often than not, what I've noticed in myself is that I get tripped up in making everything the best it could possibly be, so I never actually do the thing that I wanted to do, which is why part of the reason why I wanted to do stand-up is because I was like, there's no excuse, so you just get up there and go do
When's
it.
your next stand-up?
Tim's getting drunk.
Oh, great.
I was supposed to have one. I was supposed to have
Is
a
Gia
showcase.
running here to pick you up as usual?
Tim?
No, man, I'm meeting her downtown for Macklemore tonight.
Oh, Macklemore, right.
Macklemore's going to be a little bit more fun than he would have been.
Yeah.
No, I had a showcase on Tuesday, but unfortunately there's some fires in Napa and it got canceled.
Yeah.
So I don't know when the next thing I have is, but that was kind of a fun
That's
exercise
super cool
for
that
me.
you're doing that.
You got to
man.
see him do it.
I
Oh,
really
it's a
dig it.
blast,
really weird.
but it's a blast because I knew going in that I'm like, I don't really know anything about this, and it's just gonna be like fucking let's try it, right?
I
and
dig
that's
that, man.
so
I
fun.
dig it.
Nick 5 years ago would have been like, I need to read books on this. I need to prep for this. I need to make sure this never happens. Like like that would have been my mentality. I need to make sure I just prepare for this so much that I get in my own way and I put all these stumbling blocks in front of me and all these fucking walls and that's so anti like creative, right? Sometimes creative, you go, I'm inspired by this thing. Let's go do it. And then just the act of doing it starts this ball rolling, and then you start to build some momentum, and then you're like, oh, now I'm kind of addicted to this, and then you learn what you need to learn to get it going, right? And that's not to say that I'm an accomplished stand-up, but I'm already better than I was 6 months ago, for sure.
That's awesome, man. I love it.
Yeah. Do I think I could win a competition? No, not right now. But if I keep going, that's the goal, right? And that's the same thing with your filmmaking, right? Like I haven't seen Bartender at Large yet. I'd like to see it at some point.
Yes.
Oh, I forgot you didn't come out that night. Yeah,
I did not come out that night. I'd like to see it at some point.
You can get it now. Where?
At bartenderatlarge.com.
There it is.
Hell
Just
yeah.
name your price.
Oh shit! Okay.
If you want to pay
Right,
$99,
to do
$99, go for it.
$69.
man.
No sponsors. Give
If
them
you
a lot
wanna
of money.
yeah, if you want to pay $100, feel free. Really, it's just 99 cents. Yeah, you can pay whatever you want.
That's great,
Dude, it's worth it too, and that was the thing. So I want to get back to how it all started. But you're like, I'm making a movie, I'm doing this documentary. You were asking us all these questions about YouTube and these things, and then we give a little bit of feedback that we knew at the time.
We made it with 3 people. Like
And it was
really all the filmmakers.
great. That's all you
And it
need.
was that thing as somebody who watches a lot of documentaries, I've seen a lot of bad documentaries, right? Especially about things I care about. So I was like, I don't know where. And we went to watch that at Alamo. And when it finished, I came up to you. I was like, dude, this was like legitimately awesome. Like, this is not me blowing smoke. Like, this movie is fucking really good. And like, you have a narrative through it. You have like, so you talk about wanting to do it when you finally get like, all right, we're going to do it. Did you think, all right, cool, I'm going to get 2 cameras and like go fucking do this? Like, I fucking run a YouTube business. I wouldn't know how to start a movie.
No. Well, really what happened was
Kevin.
one of my bartenders at Polite Provisions was, he just graduated from film school.
Oh, perfect.
So he was hungry and he's like, let's do something. I was like, fuck it, all
That's all
right.
you need,
Like,
man.
We got our 2 like little Canon Rebels, our little T4i.
That's all you need. Those are great
just make it
cameras.
happen,
I mean,
right?
me and Nick were just talking today. The portrait mode in the iPhone, I guess it's iPhone 7s and above.
Yeah.
I thought it was just gimmicky because I've seen Apple talk
the
about it, and I
bokeh on
still
it's
have
like
a 6.
shit.
And then Barbara showed me
Beautiful.
pictures she took with it, and I was like, "This is unbelievable." And I was just watching video
Videos
today
of it, yeah.
of the new one and the video footage of. I'm like, this looks like DSLR.
Yes.
If you want,
that
if you-
looks like
yeah.
Canon T4i.
if you
quality.
wanted to, and I wouldn't recommend it, but if you wanted to shoot a documentary on those, you absolutely could, and
Yeah,
it would
100%.
probably be largely the interview portion, at least. Anything that's static would probably be indistinguishable from shooting with one of the cameras that we're shooting with right now.
Fun police are showing up. We're having too much
Fucking
fun.
police, man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and there are no excuses, and that's what I've been really, really fascinated with myself and over the last few years after starting this business.
How many are there?
Something
How many
horrible is
fucking
happening.
cars
That is
are there?
that's a long one.
I hope it's not a fire.
I've never even heard that before.
Joey, is the Ghostbusters outside? What is happening?
clown
I'm pretty
car.
sure that's like an Italian police
Yeah,
car.
that was like-
I was gonna say it's so bad the Europeans have come to help us.
It's Interpol or something's coming to help us out.
Wow.
Sweet Jesus.
That was ridiculous.
What do you know about it, Andy?
I mean, nothing I can say on the show.
Come try this drink.
Yeah.
No.
Come try it.
No, but that's awesome, by the way. I mean, so that's long story short is like there's. I think that I've always noticed that the desire to do something is the most important tool at your disposal.
Yeah.
Right. Everything else can be figured out because all production is just creative problem solving anyway. Right.
Yeah, really.
The more people that you can arm, of course, that understand how a camera works, like obviously you're going to be better off. But if you have people that are super hyped and have a great work ethic and are motivated to succeed, you will
Yes.
find a way to do it.
Because you
Always.
can't motivate unmotivated people.
No, I have
And if
plenty.
You try
I have
to, man,
so
it's at your peril.
many friends that are super talented that have not done some of the things that they want to do because they just can't find that motivation in themselves, right? Or because they're, obviously got other things going on in their lives. But yeah, if you finding a super hungry guy that just graduated from film school is like,
That was
that's
like
fucking
perfect,
awesome,
man.
That's great.
And I'll say the one thing is like by filming it with just 3 of us, it worked really well in our favor because there's no room for error. Like we need 3 people to film, so you can't fucking forget anything.
Yeah.
Like if you forget like gaffer tape or extension cords or something, you're screwed. So like it made us really stick to like. There's a book I really like called the Checklist Manifesto.
Okay.
Written by what's it? I forget his
Don't
name.
look it up. Don't worry.
Joe,
about it.
give me a look up.
Yeah.
Checklist Manifesto.
Author.
Author.
Atul Gawande, I think's his name. Anyway, but
Made
the whole
that
book
up.
is basically about like stick to the script, dude. Like just by everybody going through like
Yeah.
communicating with each other, you can avoid so many headaches. So
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like we kind of went through like you got this, you got that, and I feel like in the end, I mean, the next project
You're
I think is
right.
probably gonna have
Tula one day.
yeah.
Yeah, G is a
Um,
big fan of them.
Yeah, it's
Don't
an awesome
know if
book,
it's he or
man.
her, but
and
she says a lot.
Oh, yeah, right on. And the next one we do, next project, you know, we're kind of actually already starting to put this together, the sequel, and that's actually probably gonna have a bigger crew. But
Yeah,
we're gonna
sure.
take, like you said with IGN, we're taking everything we learned from that and applying
yeah.
it to the next
Oh, yeah.
one. It's gonna be that much better.
That's great. I mean, again, yeah, documentary film crews these days don't have. Actually, documentary film crews have never had to be huge. You really only need a producer,
Yeah.
a camera op, and someone who can run sound.
Yeah,
somebody has to run
hopefully
sound.
do a
You
couple
need someone to
things.
do sound.
Yeah, like there's a but don't my one. Everyone always asks me advice like, oh, what should I like? What I'm like, get a good sound guy
Yeah.
because the image.
That was our
Oh, we
mistake.
got to get a good sound
video,
guy.
Audio and video need to match, or else the quality it will look like
Dies,
shit. You
yeah.
can
Yeah,
look
the
as good as you
prettiest
want.
shot you want, but if it sounds
If
like
the whole
shit,
thing is like, psst,
yeah.
in the back as
I
people
would
are talking.
argue that you could
Or,
actually,
15 cop cars roll by in the middle of a conversation.
well, welcome to our garbage truck. But I would argue that sound is more important than visuals when you're coming to like a lot of things. Because a lot of people, as long as there's a visual through line of like, okay, this is the style of this, a lot of people will. I would think they'll forgive that as long as you can actually hear what people are saying in a clear and concise way, especially for a documentary. But that's awesome, man. Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's super cool, man.
I gotta
It
watch
was fun
Grease
to do.
2 first because Joey fucking shamed me
don't do
about that
that.
this morning.
Yo,
Maybe
Shit,
I'll
I
watch
argued
yours.
with her on Twitter about it once.
Joey, do you want to come on?
Grease
here?
2, not that bad. I like it.
Not that bad.
You
is
know what it is, though? Here's what it is.
That's
It's
a
like
Scarpino statement.
Grease 1 is
So good. It's a fucking classic.
Yeah.
It's in
Grease
my
2 was a
top
money
10
grab.
movies ever made.
Really?
Yeah,
man.
which says
Grease
something.
is the word.
Grease 2 is a money grab. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah.
They couldn't
Yeah,
get
but
any
it
deal with
worked.
that.
I liked it.
Grease is so good and here's I think why I like it so much. I hadn't really watched it all the way through until maybe a couple years ago.
yeah.
Like, I think I watched as a kid, whatever, when people put it on. But I kind of wrote it off like, oh, corny musical, whatever, corny musical. And finally, my wife was like, oh, you got to watch it. And enough people told me it's good. So I sat down and watched it and was like, this is filmmaking at
beautiful.
its
I've
finest.
seen the light.
It really is.
Within that next week, I think I watched it like 3 or 4 times.
Oh yeah, man.
And it kind of became one of those things where me and my wife would come home after maybe a few drinks and just throw it on. And you're like, oh.
It's a classic. It's a classic.
So this applies to bartender at large, I think
Yes.
specifically, but also just your life in general.
Yes.
How do you deal with the hangovers? Because if you're making this movie where it's literally about all these craft cocktail places, it was what, 2 weeks you drove across the country or something to that effect, right?
5 weeks.
5 weeks across the country, all these different places.
I took a day off in there, so.
Okay, but I mean, it is like, all right, cool, we did this thing. Wake up,
That's a 2.5
pack the
weeks.
car, we're driving somewhere else. But also, you're making a movie about this. Everyone wants to show you their best stuff. I doubt, knowing the kind of man you are, that you're like
Yeah.
taking a sip, spit it in the thing. I'm like, oh, it was great. Yeah, you're drinking hard. But then also, you come to San Francisco, and I've been with you.
Yeah.
And you go out, and people are just like, here's
Dude,
free,
you
here's
gave me-
this, here's that.
I think the last bad hangover I had was after that night.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Well, that was like one of the things that was one of like my most proud moments, and one of like fuck, I have a problem is when New Orleans, where you tweeted, you're just like, man, I'm in the industry and I drink a lot, but I can't hang with Greg Miller, and I was like, oh no, oh no.
For the record, we left the bar in the same shape, right? We were both feeling good. He's feeling good. I felt fine. But the reason I was like, I can't hang with Greg wasn't that night. It was the next day when I woke up. And
You guys woke up at like 1:30.
Like just fucking, just beat, just tired. And then Greg's just like, whew, just got back from a run, man. That gym, really just rocked me.
We had woken up at like 9:30. We were walking around eating beignets and shit in New
Went for a
Orleans,
run, I
fucking
was like,
around.
okay, man,
Like,
that's
all
when I
right,
felt like
stop
he punked
showing
me.
off. Good lord. I remember there was one time there was that tiki bar. What was it called? Smuggler's Cove.
Cove, yeah.
Which is dope as fuck. Yeah, we walk in and the people
Still there,
immediately
right?
are just like, hey,
yeah.
Erick. And we're just like, what the fuck world do we live in, man?
Yeah.
So
No,
weird.
I loved it because that night we went to Hard Water and just grubbed. And we just left like
alligator.
completely stuffed.
So good.
We went to one bar and then we were like, oh, let's go to Taco Bell.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's what I was like,
I must have
man.
bounced before that because I
I get
definitely don't
along-
remember Taco Bell that night.
No, you had Taco. It was you too. I think it was your
Oh,
idea.
Fuck, it was.
That definitely is a Nick Scarpino idea.
That's what I was
Sense. That
Okay,
makes
so,
sense.
Yeah, all right, let's do it.
Yeah, man, T-Bell, sometimes you just gotta do it.
Then you're like, oh, well, we just say I'm not that hungry, but I'll take a number 2 and a crunch wrap.
So are you constantly in a state of hungoverness, or how do you do it?
No, I mean, you know, I'd say it's funny because when I'm out traveling, I'm like, I'm out like kind of drinking and eating and stuff.
Yeah.
But when I'm home, man, it's like you know, my wife's making me smoothies and like salads,
Yeah,
and really
yeah.
healthy, and like drinking kombucha instead of cocktails.
I love kombucha.
Because it's like kind of it's about you gotta get yourself in the zone so it's like training.
Sure.
And then when the tire hits the road,
Oh yeah.
you're ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I imagine your tolerance is pretty fucking AAA at this point.
It's not as high as it was at its peak.
Because I bet if I went drink for drink with you, I would last. What's
This
your
guy does well.
What's your liberal estimate about
But
me?
Nick doesn't drink anymore. Ever.
This guy does
You know what I
well.
mean? Like that's the
I'm
thing.
actually
Like,
impressed with-
that's why I was like,
Yeah.
I can drink too much now. It's
T-Bone over here's
definitely
getting
not
loose,
good.
brother.
I get fucked up, but like it's just a problem.
No, you should have seen.
Hashtag Tipsy Tim.
Tipsy
You should have
Tim,
seen Tim
man.
at the comedy show the other day. I just looked over and I saw the comedian talking directly to him, and his back was toward me. He was silhouetted, and he just wasn't moving.
I wasn't moving.
And I went and I put my hand on his shoulder, and his head moved like a fucking Westworld robot. It just kind of went like this to me, and there was nothing back
dude,
there,
it
man.
felt that
was
way. It
fucking
felt that
gone.
way. Like,
I was like,
really.
Tim, we're gonna leave in 20 minutes. And
Oh,
Tim's like,
then-
whatever, man. I'm here for you.
An hour and a
brother."
half later, I got the footage though. I fucking got
did.
it.
I
I
love
was
it.
like, I'm not leaving without this.
you know, as of recording this, GOG 200's been live a little over a week now, about a week.
Yeah.
And the amount of people I've had tweet at me the quote or the Reddit quote of me screaming at you, or you're like, we're so drunk, and it's like topic 4 and we're blackout drunk, and I'm like, shut up, Tim. Everybody knows we're drunk, man. They've listened this far.
That was a fucking good episode. We've been on a tear.
We have been on
This is a great
fucking-
episode. I'm
this
not
is
calling it right
fucking
now.
great.
This is a great
100%.
episode.
You kidding me?
100%. We're in it.
That's why I'm just happy to have Eric here
I feel-
talking.
It feels like we're like getting towards wrapping up. So I have a question that I want to ask.
Talk to me,
It's about
brother.
whiskey.
Yeah,
so you
talk to
guys
me.
made me snobs when it comes to all this shit,
Oh, yeah.
right?
We also got him only drinking IPAs, which is
So
great.
well, that's my
Yeah,
thing. Is
what?
I didn't drink my entire life until I think I had my first drink when I was 22 or 3.
Yeah.
Right.
To be clear for newer listeners of
welcome.
the show, he's called the Pure One.
because
Both
of that.
because of his sexual stuff, but also because back in the day sexual stuff, but also because he wouldn't drink on camera like the rest of us
Yeah.
in the beginning
He had
of the
a brand
Game
to
Over Greggy
protect.
show.
Yeah,
A lot
exactly.
of people
You
don't know
get a
that
brand to protect.
in his Coke was aged rum. A lot of people don't know
No
that.
one's little known
It was
secret.
just
Secret
rum.
bro, secret
What was,
Yeah.
Tim, what was your first drink? Do you remember?
My very, very, very. Yeah, it was a shot of Jack. And that
welcome.
was with you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, the Jack and Cokes became the thing.
I
Because
have
Nick drank Jack
Wait,
and Cokes.
your first? I'm sorry. I think how young were you in your first drink?
You'd had
22.
alcohol before that,
I had,
right?
yeah, my first ever was, I guess I was 21. It was on Kern's 21st
Right.
birthday. It was a shot of Jack, and that
Yeah.
was it.
Okay.
But
And
Tim,
then
Tim
I
when
didn't
he
drink until
right when Tim got into the industry, he was like, I don't drink. And I never pressured him, but I was like,
But you just gave him a
smoking
shot of
now?
Jack.
no,
yeah.
we would go
I
out,
can't
and then
handle it.
finally I was like, are you sure you don't want to drink? And he's like, yeah, I'll have a drink. What are you drinking? I'm like, well, I'm doing a Jack and Diet. And he goes, well, I don't like Diet Coke. And I'm like, well, then just get Jack and Coke, man. He's like, oh, faithful.
Jack and Cokes are my
And you
drink
drank
for
Jack-
a long
yeah,
time.
for a very long time.
I will never drink
Until you meet
Coke again.
Moscow Mule.
And then, so Moscow Mule I met, and I'm like, oh, this is a beautiful, beautiful,
beautiful drink,
mistress.
yeah.
I love
Beautiful
it.
And then I
'Cause-
finally wore you down on beer after traveling with me for so many years.
So what happened was,
Tell me how you fell in love with IPAs.
It was, well, yes, it was you and Colin and Greg as well, kind of coming into my life, and I was like, oh shit, there's this whole cocktail thing. I didn't know anything. I didn't know the difference between any of this shit. Like my mom drank wine. That's pretty much my knowledge of alcohol. And then eventually, you guys drinking the old fashioned and all that stuff. I was like, all right, cool. I guess I'm gonna drink this shit. I didn't watch Mad Men.
Was it
I didn't know
Southside,
anything about
the
that.
episode
Oh,
for
well,
Nicki
yeah, then
Minaj?
you made the Southside.
Yeah, the Follow the Leader episode.
But it was like the old fashioned. I was like, all right, cool. Jack and Coke's gonna be my go-to bar drink that I order. Old fashioned's gonna be the more fancy one where I know not everyone's gonna make it right.
Yeah.
But it turned me into a snob because of all that shit.
Yeah.
And then beer I could just never handle. But hit a point where like I'm addicted to drinking things. Like
I'm the same way.
Whether
man.
it's
I gotta
LaCroix
have tea or coffee.
I take
or like
so much
something.
down.
Yeah.
And my problem is I drink cocktails, as you noticed, way too fast.
Yeah, way too
How many
fast.
LaCroix can you drink in one day?
Oh my gosh!
Don't ask me
I
how
could
many.
dust a
10.
6-pack. No
Oh,
problem.
I've done more than that.
Yeah.
It's not that I've done more than
What's
that.
your favorite
I do
flavor,
more
dude?
than that. I like to jump around. Right now, currently it's pamplemousse, but
yeah,
dude,
brother.
it's so
Give
fucking
me
good.
that.
So
It's all
fucking
about the
good.
pamplemousse.
But
Cocaine.
AKA grapefruit. But no,
guys are fucking
I think,
addicted to
but I've
that
moved
shit.
over to beer because there's more of it, right? And I just can't do light beers. Like they just it's disgusting.
bottled
to me.
water.
But no, it's worse. It's Arrowhead. Like it's
Yeah.
just fucking. It's bad. It's really really bad. But the
Put
IPAs,
some-
I fuck with them.
You gotta put some ice in it. That's what you gotta do.
I don't know, dude. That sounds so nasty.
You gotta put some ice in it, man.
But
It
anyway,
makes a little frothy
you-
beverage.
To get back to this, I
I
feel
want
really,
more. I want more credit for turning on to beer and
Oh, yeah,
IPAs.
yeah,
it was such a proud papa moment one day when we were sitting at the airport waiting for a flight, and Tim was like, "What beer are you drinking?" I don't get that. I was like, what?
The Goose.
I was like, Goose Island. I'm like, you never drink beer with me. And he's like, nah, I'm going to start. And I was like, oh. And now every time we go out and it'll be like IPA and then they won't have it. And he's like, what are you getting? Is it like an IPA? And I have to describe like Pilsner to this. And
but I found I don't like beer unless it's an IPA. The sour
IPAs
ones
are so good,
I'm
man.
all right with.
The Hefeweizens.
But yeah, but it's just like anything darker and anything lighter, it doesn't sit
those
well
hops.
with me. Like I don't like it at all.
Well, because they're like citrusy and it's like almost like
Yeah.
marijuana-ish.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, see, that's what all
Well, hops
IPAs.
are related to marijuana.
Yeah,
Really?
all
So it's like if
IPAs
you
smell like weed.
IPA,
from the
they're
ground,
very
man.
skunky,
Can't do it. Can't do it.
From the earth, bro.
No, it's like eating weed.
So the question I have for you, though,
Thank
I
you.
feel really snobby about old fashions and when it comes to bourbon and whiskey and blah, 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 all this stuff. In San Francisco, there's a big Japanese whiskey culture.
Yeah,
Oh.
definitely.
And I was very kind of pushing that away because I'm like, nah, man, if it's not from fucking Kentucky, it ain't fucking right. That ain't, and I'm just like quoting all this bullshit that I've heard you guys say that like, I don't know what I'm talking
Dude, they
about.
make
They
damn
know
good
what they're
whiskey,
saying.
man.
When I'm
Paraphrasing.
Yeah.
paraphrasing, yeah, their quotes and shit. I'm like, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but I'm being a fucking asshole right now trying to
Yeah.
be elitist. What's the stance on Japanese whiskey?
Oh, I love it.
Because I actually like
It's funny that you mentioned because my liquor rep from Polite just texted me on the way here in the car. It was like, hey, man, I got this really like heavily allocated, really difficult to get Japanese whiskey. And I have like 10 bottles for San Diego. Do you want one? I'm like, next question is like, how much is it?
Yeah.
And he's like, $750 a bottle. I
Oh,
was like,
shit.
fucking throw it on our next order.
Yeah,
'Cause I know we'll
baller.
sell it.
Yeah.
I know we'll sell it. And like, dude, Yamazaki is fantastic, man. All the Centauri stuff.
Yeah,
And-
we got a bottle of Centauri from someone when we moved in here as a
fantastic,
housewarming
man.
gift, and we drank it and we cracked it open on some Japanese game we started playing on stream.
It's made in the same
I
city
fuck with the
as
Japanese
Nintendo
whiskey.
headquarters in Japan, dude.
Oh.
So you go to Kyoto, bro, go to Japanese headquarters, or go to Nintendo headquarters, and then go to the Centauri distillery.
For relaxing times.
I could
blitzed.
live in that
I think
town.
it's Centauri times.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Japan?
Yeah.
Tokyo? Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you kidding me? But you could live in any town. That's the thing. You go off and you have adventures.
Yes.
I love a good Erick
Try to.
Castro adventure.
Yeah, where's our next trip, dude?
I don't know, where do you want to go? Well, you and me want to make a movie too at some point. That
fucking
got
right.
cold because I got so busy, but
Yeah.
I'm still in 100%.
Yeah, I know you're slacking, bro. What are you doing? 90 hours a week?
It's one of those things
Fucking
where
slacker, man.
you know, respect. So it's all fine. We know what's going on here. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I know how it is. But yeah, no, we need to pick another place to have an adventure. I still want to. I got to get back to Tokyo at some point.
I've actually never really even spent time in Japan.
Dude, you love it more than most because like Golden Guy, where you go and it's all these like all these little alleys.
Yes.
and all there
Yes.
are
I'm
these
convinced, bro.
offshoot. You
I'm
walk
already
in.
in. You got me
it's
a Golden
already
Boy.
in.
bars that have like 4 or 5 seats, and you go in and drink and hang out, and they got cats, and it's like it's attached to their house.
I'm
and they
done.
just- it's
I'm
fucking
in,
amazing.
dude.
The
I mean-
drinking culture in Japan is by far one of the best on the fucking planet. It is just so like accepting, and you just go as hard as you need to go, and if you pass out, they're totally okay
Give
with
me
that.
half a cup there. I don't want to
Give them a whole thing.
Go to the brim.
But you know, like the first time I went to one of those
Yeah.
small bars in Japan, like you were talking about, I was like, oh my god, these guys, this culture likes to fucking
Oh
party.
my God, the
They
first
like to
time
fucking
I went to Japan and we went for TGS. We were staying out in what is that, Makuhari? Is that
Yeah,
right?
Makuhari.
And it was like Damon and I went back and this guy was like begging us to come in, and it was like one of those. It looked like an office building, but
Yeah.
you went in, it was just
Yeah.
floor after floor of restaurants and bars, and we drank and ate our way up. And we're there at the top of it or whatever,
sir.
and we looked out and there was this guy getting carried out of the men's room by his 2 friends, and his feet were just dragging. And then 45 minutes later, EMTs came up and went into the women's bathroom and brought out a woman on the stretcher who was so drunk. And you were like, man, this fucking city, dude.
know
This
how to
fucking
party.
city knows what's up.
Dude, the first time I was walking, I mean, the first couple bars we went to, I think we were there till 4. No, what was it? It was like the bars close right as the trains start in Japan, which is like perfectly smart.
Nice.
So if you don't catch
Unlike
the
That's
last,
good infrastructure, man. That's
right, it's good.
infrastructure.
If you don't catch the last train, I think, and it might have been changed by now, and I could be getting my times wrong, but I think it was like midnight was the last train on the yellow line. And that was the one back to Makuhari. So if you didn't catch that, you had to stay in bars until like 4 in the morning. But then the trains would start going again. So you'd be walking around, and there'd just be people sleeping on the streets. And it was okay.
Oh, yeah, you're
nobody,
safe. Nobody's
Nobody
gonna fuck
fucked
with
with them.
you.
Nobody molested them or anything like that. It was totally fine. They were unmolested.
I love that.
But I was like, this is a fucking place that like you can just like you can get some serious work done here, man. I'm not gonna lie, on both sides. It was really fun.
I
wanna
remember I
go
was
back.
in I haven't partied in Japan yet, but I was in Korea,
Yamanote
which
line,
everybody
that's what I
told me.
meant to say,
Everyone in
the
Korea
line.
says it's the closest drinking culture
Okay.
to what they have in Japan, in terms of just like you can pass out and no one mess with you, whatever. And we were, I was doing like I was doing something for the Four Seasons out there. So it was like I was bartending.
Wait, where's this?
The Four Seasons
Korea.
in Seoul.
Oh, and Seoul. How is
Yeah.
that? Is that a
Oh,
cool?
It's awesome, dude. It's beautiful. There's a bar called Charles H. Baker. Google it. It's gorgeous, gorgeous. And while we're in there, like the staff, you know, I'm doing like a guest shift and I get off like at midnight. And some of the staff, some of the guys text me and are like, "Oh, hey man, hey, we're going out tonight. If you want to meet up with us, we're all partying." And I was like, "Oh, cool. Where are you guys gonna be at?" And they're like, "Well, we're all meeting up at 4." And I was like, "Wait, it's midnight. You guys are like going out at 4?"
4 in the morning.
They're like, "Yeah, man, you should join us, dude. We got the karaoke room booked until 2 p.m. tomorrow.
2 p.m.
So you should come out rage with us." And
yes.
I was like,
The
"Wait,
answer is yes.
you guys are meeting at 4 a.m. and going till 2?" And they're just like, "Yeah, but I mean, you don't have to drink or party the whole time. You can pass out in the karaoke room and just wake back up, and like have breakfast and then sing again with us."
I fucking
was
love this so much.
Korea, South Korea just knows how to party.
Oh yeah. Well, like we that's I never did that in. Oh, I actually did do that in Japan. I think the karaoke rooms in Japan because that's a huge culture there as well. The only experience I've had like that was actually in LA though, which was which is fucking insane too. But yeah.
Not here.
Oh, I've heard of those bars. And
You
then
don't do the
order
rooms
tea
here like
after 2 a.m.
Really?
It's not tea. in the
No,
teapot.
but here's the thing. I don't want to get off on a tangent when it comes to karaoke bars, but there's 2 different kinds of people on this planet. Okay, they're the kinds that wants to sing amongst their friends.
I was gonna say,
and then they're the
private
kind
room
like
or
me
open room?
who want to share their voice with the world, sir.
When you got these golden pipes, you need to share them with everybody. That's what I've been saying.
I think the karaoke experience should be a crucible. I think you need to get up there and you need to be drunk enough.
It's like Gong Show or Midnight at the Apollo.
Right.
Like there's this guy, giant
You always
hook.
get the one person that tries to do Journey too early. And you're like, boo, you fucking suck. But then like 5 minutes later, someone else does Journey, and you're like, don't stop. You know, that's
Yeah,
so
no,
good.
I'm a big public karaoke fan.
Fuck yeah, you are.
That's the one. I mean, you remember we used to go to Edna's Ichiban Library. All
I
the
never
time.
went with you guys, but I used to go to.
Too cool.
You and I
Drag
went.
Queens, right?
Yeah.
I think you and I went maybe a couple times to the place on California Street. That's like elevated.
Yep.
You go up the stairs.
Yep.
and it's actually
We,
really
we
cool
did
karaoke
birthdays
bar.
there for a long time. Yeah, and that place was awesome
Place
too.
was great.
Yeah.
I think it's still there.
What's the one in LA that Hillary always took a group to that I'd always go to? Golden Monkey or something? Or it's a famous one in LA. I think in Koreatown.
I think that's maybe the one I've been to. Where
Brass
it's like,
Monkey? No.
It looks like that Korean, like the
Koreatown's like the place
the
for
strip
drinks
mall.
right now.
It looks like that strip mall
In
we went
LA,
to for that
dude. It's
Korean
like the
place
hip part
last
of town.
time.
yeah, exactly.
And
That's
you just
what
walk
reminded
in,
me.
you're like, what the fuck? It looks like a paintball place, or like a laser
that
tag
was
place.
one
You're
of
like,
I mean, outside of Edna's Ichiban where they have backup singers and all this crazy ass shit happens. But that was the one where the most crazy karaoke moment I'd ever seen in my life was where everybody's there and everybody's partying, everybody's having a great time. And this is the LA one. And we had the back table full of IGN people. And this dude got up and he was, white as Tim. Looked maybe a lot like Tim, just some 20-something, whatever.
Tim?
Got up there and he was going to do, I think, Warren G. Regulate or some
he
other.
sounds like Tim.
Some other.
Me? Fuck.
It was going to be an intense, maybe it was Snoop Dogg. It was some intense rap song where there was definitely
Intense rap
a
song.
breakdown of like, you have to
Yeah.
know every word here and do you really know it?
Got it.
You ready for the bridge?
He got up there and he looked like he's a normal dude or whatever, and then he fucking destroyed it to the point that this one guy got up, and I'll never get this one guy. He's an Indian dude, big guy, really nice silk shirt, Bluetooth headset in his ear, so he's important.
Yeah.
Right.
But he got up there and he made it rain on this kid. And then he went and sat back down, and then the kid got to an even more intense rap portion and destroyed it. And the guy got up and just threw all this money in the air in front of him. And it was just like, what the fuck is going
dude,
on?
That's what
dude?
I'm talking
Oh,
about
yeah.
right there.
Yeah,
And then was he so big time that he had someone else to pick up his ones? He's like, no, I don't lower myself to actually
I don't touch
pick the
my own
money up.
ones. I don't touch anything under 10. My last karaoke experience, believe it or not, I think the last time I did karaoke was in the lobby of the hotel we were at with the IGN sales conference in Palm Springs, and
I
we
was
were
so
all.
fucking jealous I wasn't there.
Oh, you should have been there instead of me. But I was there anyway, and everyone went out, dinner, drinks, came back, and there was a DJ in the hotel lobby that was doing karaoke, and I signed up for. I don't know why I was drunk, but I think I did gin and juice. And it was a fucking blast. And as I'm halfway through it, Jimmy Yaffe walked in. Remember the Yaff?
Oh, I remember that. You
Jimmy
never
Yaffe.
forget the Yaff. When you meet the Yaff,
Jimmy
you don't
Yaffe was
forget
this
the
guy we
Yaff.
worked with who was just like
Mr. Hollywood.
Dude, Jimmy was awesome because he was like super tied in with everything, right? But he would always like, he was kind of cool. He was kind of a mentor to me a little bit. Like he'd pull me aside and be like, Nick, this is what you should do. And I'll never forget the look.
That's not how that happened.
It was. I'll never forget the look on his face when he walked in and saw me doing gin and juice and just kind of shook his head and just walked away. And I was like, well, I've lost Jimmy's respect. That's the last.
Or gained it.
Maybe. You never know with Jimmy. You
never know.
Maybe he
Yeah.
was
No
like,
rules.
there's something this kid has. I don't know. That was fun.
Best bar you've ever been to?
Oh shit, man.
Not your own.
That's tough. Because check this out. There's this there's all these like awards around the world, like best bars, whatever. And I'm on a few panels, right? And sometimes they ask me, periodically throughout the year for their list. And I used to kind of just go by like the fanciest bars, right?
Sure.
And this last time I was submitting my top 5, I was like, wait, these aren't my top 5 favorite bars. These are the top, like why my top 5 favorite bars should be, in my mind, like the best bars. So it got me kind of thinking that mentality where it's difficult to have just one like best bar in the world blanket statement. I would be like, okay, this is the best bar to hang out with a bunch of friends. This would be like the best drinks. This would be the best.
We won't hold you to it. Just give us a smattering of bars
So
that you
I'm
like.
gonna break it down. I would say, shit, dude, Irish Bank here in San Francisco.
Never been.
Irish Bank, I've heard of it.
Dude,
Where's it at? Do you know?
The Irish Bank. It's just for the Irish coffees, right? It's not like.
Is it on? Is it
fancy
on one
bar.
of those
It's
alleys?
Ghirardelli Square.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just one of those bars. Like the bartenders are always like tons of hospitality. They put on a good show. They know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're just kind of old, like salty dogs. Been in the
Love
industry
it.
forever. All they really makes one drink, and that's the Irish coffee. And that's
Sure.
it.
Can I get a beer? Sure. And let's give you the Irish coffee.
I mean, they'll give you one. Yeah, no, that's how you make it here. Don't order Coors Light on ice.
Fucking, I don't order the Coors Light on ice. I order Coors Light and a thing of ice, and then I'll pour the Coors Light into it. I'm not
But
an
if
animal.
someone were to ask, like, if you were to go there and order a vodka soda, they'd be like, yeah, okay, coming up. But it'd be like almost catching by surprise. That's how many Irish coffees they make.
Sure.
So you go to a place like that, and that just makes me feel good. So I would
Sure.
say that's in one of my favorite
It's
bars.
tradition. It's good.
McSorley's in New York. One of my favorite places. It's been,
Okay.
I think, like 120 years. And it's just like, the only beer they have is light and dark. They make no beer.
Really?
Yeah.
That's fun.
And when you order a beer, you get 2. You get 2 little beers. And that's just how they do it.
seems
You're like, I'll
wasteful.
take 4 beers, and they just hand you 8. And you kind of learn your lesson the stuff the first or second time you come, you're like, okay, I just came with a big table of people. But they're like a little bit smaller. And that was definitely one of my favorite bars. I mean, shit, it's like if that place were to close down, it would be like America fucking losing like a national
That's
treasure.
it. We're done.
Where is it in New York?
Ah, shit. It's in the East Village. I forget what street it's on.
Okay,
It's
yeah,
like
that's good enough. I was
8th or something.
wondering about it.
People
It's-
Google it.
Yeah.
Not
a
everybody's got-
fantastic place.
Never is like Boilermaker where it's at first and first.
Yeah,
Easy.
first- yeah,
that's
that's the
easy.
easiest,
Yeah.
yeah.
The nexus of the universe.
Jesus.
Seinfeld, come on.
Okay.
It's a Salt Seinfeld reference.
Where are you,
Every
Kramer?
customer-
I'm at
like-
the corner of first and first.
I've gotten
I'm
into
at the nexus of the
cabs and
universe.
they think I'm fucking with them. I get in the cab and be like, "Oh, take me to. I'm headed to first and first," and they're just like,
Yeah, like it just.
"You trying to fuck with me, man?" They don't touch, and you're like, "There's no." It is actually just north of the house, and okay, but you could tell they're still like suspect.
I don't believe this
Right,
for a
right,
goddamn
right.
second.
Yeah. So yeah, it is tricky. It is
I
tricky.
bet,
but-
yeah.
but-
I mean,
but-
you've
but
gone
the
to so
best
many
bars
too,
are.
right?
I mean, obviously, there's places that are just like just really, really super fancy. But I find those are they're rarely the best drinks and
Yeah.
they're rarely the best time. But it's kind of depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah. This weekend, went to Scott Lowe's birthday party in Palm Springs.
Ooh.
They got a house.
Yeah,
We
they
just
have some good bars there.
party, yeah. Well, we mainly drank at the house and hung out. But there was a guy there from New Orleans, and him and his fiance were making French 75s.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I know these. Don't worry about it. I've been to New Orleans once or twice.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
going
yeah,
to New
just
Orleans. I'm going to New Orleans for a bachelor party next
shit.
May. Do you have any recommendations?
Oh, we have a ton of recommendations.
Okay, good. I'm gonna hit you up
Dude,
about this.
New Orleans is incredibly spoiled with how many awesome bars they have per capita. It's insane. But not just that, but they have not only besides cocktails, they have some of the best fried chicken you will eat in your life.
Oh,
They also have
Supers.
beignets, and the beignets are the most amazing thing ever.
Incredible. Dude.
New Orleans is great. That
Coachella.
was such a great trip with you. It was you and your wife and me and Jen, and we went there for New Year's, and we just fucking partied for like 4 or 5 days, and it was awesome. That
It was a
such
blast,
a great
man.
trip.
We just ate our faces off.
Yep.
Dude, that crawfish pie at Couchon,
Couchon was insane.
God, it
too.
just sounds
fried
like
chicken. It's like, when you're
sounds
like,
like a hangover. It just everything you're
like-
saying.
And that was
sounds
the
like
thing,
a
though. But
wicked hangover.
it was, and this is like, you guys know me pretty well that I'm just
Yeah.
bad at vacationing. Like I'm just bad at checking out and stopping. And it was that thing of like,
oh, we made you. We were because both me and you
Yeah.
are very like,
yep. And the woman, we're not having that.
No, fuck
And so like Jen and I woke up one day when you guys were still sleeping. We just walked and got these amazing oysters at this oyster house and left there and had fucking crawfish over here and drinks over there. And it's just like, we just walked in every direction. It was like, and I had,
I love it.
city of
Greg Rice
decadence.
gave me recommendations. You had obviously given us recommendations. Cliff Blazinski had written in with the recommendations. Like I had places to go, but it was just like you went where it was, and I was surprised how many just letting going with the flow led me to places people were like that. Because you talk to some
You mean that
bartender
Coop's
this,
fried
right?
chicken?
Oh, dude, Coops is so good.
fried oysters, bro.
fried oysters.
You got to get on it.
Whoa.
Tasty.
Man.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
like when you go,
fucking fun.
actually, I already have a tip for you. I'll email you some like places.
Good.
to go.
I actually want this.
But the one tip that's most important is bring pants that are a little too loose.
Okay.
Bring those
Gotcha.
sweatpants.
'Cause when
Just
you
wear the
come home-
sweatpants.
Bring my joggers.
Yeah,
Don't
bring the
even worry.
joggers.
When you come home,
For
they'll be a
sure.
little snug.
Yeah.
Because New Orleans knows how to eat.
It'll
New
fuck
Orleans
you
knows how
up.
to drink. Yeah.
All right, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Great place.
Let's go.
Eric, thank you for coming by.
Oh.
Your family. We like it finally having you on the
Oh,
show,
yeah,
I
thanks
guess,
for
which we
finally
didn't do.
coming on.
Yeah. Bartenderlarge.com. Go there, buy the
sir.
movie, pay what you want. But I believe the going rate is $100.
Yeah.
Go give him $100 to watch.
Pay 99 cents.
I was gonna say $69, but $100 works.
$69 is pretty good too. That's also
Not bad.
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
it actually is a pretty.
If you get
boss-
$69 or $100, you know it's a kind of funny best friend.
Or if
There
you
it
really
is.
want to, you could pay $420, $69.
Ooh.
Yeah,
all
fucking-
right. All right.
That's not
Dank
just me
memes,
trying
man.
to get like.
Dank yarn.
That's not just me trying to get more money out of you.
You just wink at the camera when you say, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, this has been the Game Over Greggy show each and every week. 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table, each bring a random topic discussion for your amusement. If you like that, head over to patreon.com/kindafunny, where a couple of bucks gets you each and every episode early on a variety of different ways that I'm not going to list for you. If you have no bucks to toss our way, no big deal. Head over to youtube.com/kindafunny, where you can get the show topic by topic, day by day, until it goes up as one big free video and MP3 the following Friday. I swear I'm fine. I made I'm hooked on the Instagram story now. And I made one before this. I'm
It's
not
very
gonna
contagious.
get
It is
wasted.
very
I'm not
contagious.
wasting. I'll have you know right now.
No, guys, this was actually just pomegranate iced tea.
What? Ah!
That's why I'm okay.
Again, bartender at large.
Tim's
.com. Joey, December 11th, we said? Monday the 11th?
Yeah.
This goes like December 11th.
No,
Oh.
no. We're doing the Kind of Funny Community
sense.
Holiday Party Polite Provisions in San Diego, December 11th. It's the Monday after PSX, so extend your ticket. Just instead of flying out of Anaheim or LA, fly out of San Diego, come down with us. It'll be a great party.
I think we have enough gogs
We
to
should
get
get
to
Greg
December
in like a
11th.
Santa costume. and get
Well,
people to sit on his lap.
dude, let me show you some of the.
that would
let me show you some of
immediately.
the. I got some good Christmas sweaters going there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And now, what I do worry about, of course, is the fact that it's always so hot in San Diego, and Polite's
No,
always so hot
December
too.
won't be
I don't
too
know.
hot.
I'm never around for that. Oh, we'll figure it out. Until
I
next
will
time,
say.
it's been our pleasure to serve you. Thanks for watching, everybody. Click here to watch another episode of the Game Over Greggy Show. Click here to subscribe. Click here to go over and support us on Patreon. Remember, every buck helps. Click down here for whatever cool Greg wants to send you today. I hope it's rap music.